I'm whacking every warning label on this one.
Yeah,
I
man.
This one might be. We've done other stuff before that's required warning labels and content warnings. I struggle to think of one where I am as serious as this one.
Yeah, I mean, I
Honestly,
think,
guys, honestly,
yeah.
this is it's brilliant. Oh
Hmm.
my god, it's an amazing film. I mean, I just next level horror, you know?
Hmm.
But is it horrible? Yes. I mean, like it's so distressing.
Yeah,
It's so upsetting. And there are images in this film that have upset me more than most films in recent memory.
yeah, yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think, the filmmakers brought that A game, the writers brought that A game, the actors, oh my God. And we're going to talk about all of
Oh
this.
my god.
Um,
This it's not going to get any awards. You know, it's not going to, not the big ones. It'll get horror based awards. It'll get
yeah,
genre awards, but it will not get any of the big. It won't get Oscars or anything like that because it's
no,
horror, right? It's ghettoized, and
yeah,
it just doesn't happen. It deserves them.
yeah, it really does.
The acting is insane in this
Yeah, no,
film.
it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal piece of work. And funny enough, actually, I was thinking about this today. So we got like I got my oh God, I'm not even sure if it's Blu-ray or DVD. It doesn't really matter. But I got my
Uh,
physical media copy of Derelict through in the post today.
yes, had my due.
Right, right. Really exciting, isn't it?
It's
And it's
brilliant.
great, right? Because we, obviously we know the guy who made it, and we know
Hmm.
what a great guy he is, as well as obviously a phenomenally talented filmmaker. And it's really cool. I was thinking about it arriving today, knowing we were going to be talking about this
Hmm.
movie tonight, because I mean, this had a bigger budget than Derelict, obviously, but it's
Yes,
still also obviously a very small budget movie in the grand
yes,
scheme of things.
very much so.
And like Derelict, I think this is a great example of what is achievable on a small budget if you have writers and directors that know exactly what they're doing, and
I
you
mean,
have actors who are committed.
it's
Yeah,
been it's been a good year for horror this year. It's been very strong right out of the gate. We've had
yeah,
so not only really amazing horror films, smart, interesting, but also just a variety of different subjects and themes and
absolutely.
concepts. And of them all, and some of them have had massive budgets. I mean, Nosferatu had a fucking huge budget. You can tell. I
Sure.
mean, it's just a gigantic production, that one.
Yeah.
Of them all, of all the ones I've seen this year, this is by far the most successful. This is by far the one that has evoked the strongest emotion for me, anyway.
Mhm. I mean, it's an interesting thing because I agree with you. It's been an incredibly strong year. I think it's been, and you're right, it was strong out the gate. I also think it's, in particular, it's been a very strong summer. I
Hmm.
mean, I think, it's funny. I think back to an article I wrote that I ended up getting in the placing in the Full Lid, which is Alistair Darling's newsletter,
Hmm.
and that was I thought that was about the summer of horror at that point, and I'd wrote about Final Destination Bloodlines, and I wrote
Of
about
course.
Clown in the Cornfield,
Hmm.
and I wrote about 28 years later. And at that point, I was quite content to sit and say it's been a good summer for horror.
Yeah.
And then in the last fortnight, I've seen three horror movies at the cinemas, all of which I think blew all three of those movies, which I liked a lot, by the way. All three of
Hmm.
those films I thought were very good. But three films at the cinema, four now, I think, if you count The Long Walk, that just
Yeah.
blow them out of the water. Not because they're bad movies, but because these are so good. And we talked about one of them
Is
recently, Weapons,
yes.
absolutely phenomenal.
Weapons was brilliant.
The more I reflect on Together, the more I think actually Together is also genuinely a brilliant
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
The
Different
Long,
timbre, different
very
style of film,
different.
but
Yeah,
absolutely, I thought it was wonderful. I
yeah.
really enjoyed Together.
And actually, I thought with Together, there's almost one of the things I liked about it was that I felt the ending had an almost Barkerian twist to it, where it was like, maybe
Yeah.
this is okay. Actually, maybe the thing that you're scared of, you shouldn't be scared of, and that's
Right. I mean,
really
that
quite
I
interesting.
appreciated that so much. I mean,
Right.
you're right. It is a Barkerian thing where
Mm.
it's not about the horror of horror. It's about what's
Yes.
potentially maybe attractive and even redemptive about horror.
Certainly transformative, right?
Yeah, right.
For sure.
So interesting. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not that, by the
No,
way.
no, no.
There's nothing
Um,
redemptive in this.
And then, as I say, like at the weekend, I went and saw The Long Walk, and I am astonished
Yes.
to announce that somehow they've managed to film The Long Walk. They've
It's
managed to,
getting, I mean, amazing like responses across the board. I haven't seen a negative
yeah, yeah,
review of
yeah.
it yet. Like
They,
not
they've
one.
they've managed to do what the novel did. They've managed to transmit the horror and the claustrophobia of the novel onto the screen, and it's an incredible achievement. And the
It,
novel's an
well, it, I
incredible
mean,
achievement
just
because
I mean, on
yeah,
a purely technical level, in terms of the
yes,
subject, it must have been so hard to realize because it
yeah,
is just guys walking in a
yeah,
straight line.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's the story, right?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but yeah,
I
making
mean,
that
yeah,
and making that engaging throughout,
yeah.
that's very difficult.
And you and I have talked about this before. I mean, I've talked about The Long Walk for years as one of those. For me, it's an exemplar king text in the sense that it's one. There's a few like it. Gerald's Game's another one.
Hmm.
You read the premise and you go, oh, that's brilliant, and then your writer brain kicks in immediately and you go,
Hmm.
like, how do you
Hmm.
actually write that story in a
Yeah,
way that works the way you want it to work? And it is, the more you think about it as a storytelling challenge, and where you realize, like, yeah, it's a great idea, but it's really tough to realize. And
it's
of course, the
very difficult to
filmmakers,
actually
yeah,
get down, isn't it? To make
exactly,
just to force it into shape to get it to
yeah,
actually.
yeah,
Because I mean, if it becomes an and then story, that's the
right,
danger, right? If it becomes
absolutely,
and then, because that's the nature of the subject, right? It is
yeah.
literally one step after the other.
Well, and you can't tell it in real time because they're moving at 3 miles an hour, and it's
Right.
just not. But at the same time, it has to feel like that because
Hmm.
the point of the narrative thrust is that you're in there the whole time with these kids, right?
Yep.
So how do you square that circle? And the film had the same challenge that the novel had. I mean, it had the novel as a kind of roadmap for some of it,
Hmm.
pun not intended. But but it's interesting because the movie makes some changes, not massive ones, apart from arguably the ending. But I love what they did, and everything that they
Hmm.
did, I think, is true to the spirit of the book. That's what I think they
Yeah.
did very, very well. But yeah, it's extraordinary. And even in that, so there's all of that happening. But for me, I think I'd have to agree with you. I think so far,
Hmm.
and again, I fucking loved Weapon. I mean, we talked about Weapons
Yeah.
for like what 2.5
Loved
hours. Like,
Weapons. I loved it
go and
to
listen to that.
bits.
Loved the hell out of it. I
It
think
was
it's
an
amazing.
amazing like
Yeah,
cinema going experience that was,
yeah,
and it is like this film, it is incredibly smart and
yeah,
dealing with subjects that are beneath the surface of the immediate. That's the thing that a lot of these
yes,
films are doing.
yeah.
There's a very definite subtext, like cultural commentary,
Mm,
which
mm.
I love from horror. For me, that's when horror is at its most ideal, especially when it's dealing with subjects that most other fiction shies away from. It's the subjects that culture in general tries to deny or shies away from or finds deeply uncomfortable to talk about. And my
Absolutely.
God, I mean,
And I've been thinking about this a lot in the context. I mean, my Brian Keane project, I've actually, book one of Exploring the Labyrinth is going to be coming out mid-October now,
mhm.
which is very exciting. And I've been prepping. I'm actually going to be interviewing Brian Keane,
Oh, fab.
well, tomorrow as we're recording this.
Oh,
But
brilliant.
it'll have been done by the time it comes out because he's agreed. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very lucky. He's agreed to do an exclusive interview for the book. So it's an audio interview, but I'll transcribe it to print, and it'll be a print
Yeah.
interview in the book in the back of the book, which is amazing. But I was reflecting on that. I've been reading a few of the essays to kind of get my head in the game for tomorrow's interview, and thinking
Hmm.
about one of the reasons Keane was attractive to me for a long, like a deep dive project of that kind, is because Keane has a relentless focus on working class characters.
Yeah.
Like, he just, like, all of his work is about blue collar America, and often it's about
Hmm.
small town America in the bits of America that some people sneeringly describe as flyover country.
Yeah.
And he's got a relentless focus on that way of life, on the difficulties of it, and he's got a very unflinching eye. He doesn't spare the blushes. He doesn't spare some of the small town prejudices and issues
Yeah.
around that. But he
It's not
also,
a hagiography of the
absolutely
yeah.
not. No, absolutely not. But he also does get deep into the humanity of the people involved, and he doesn't
Hmm.
sell them short on that. And I think, we've talked a lot about horror as being the natural genre for the underclass, the natural genre for the
Yeah.
dispossessed. We've talked a lot how excited we are by how so much of the great horror that's happening right now
Hmm.
is happening in queer fiction, is happening in,
Yes.
with people of color and people from,
Hmm.
neurodiverse population, people from, traditionally underrepresented groups of various kinds. And of course, that's where the exciting horror is happening right now. And as I say, I think for me, where Keen feeds in on that is the working class side of things, which again,
Yeah.
is very underrated and very underrepresented in popular
Well,
fiction.
I mean,
And
even
that's
now,
where I
right?
think,
Even now, I mean,
oh no, one hundred
traditionally,
percent,
traditionally horror, obviously, it has its roots in Gothicism and whatnot, which is always almost universally about aristocracy, almost
sure,
universally about aristocracy. It wasn't until like the great ructions in the sort of like the early 20th century that you started to get working class horror.
yeah, absolutely.
And
And I
even,
think it's no, go on.
no, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, even in the, weapons which I adored, like most of the characters and that, I mean, they were kind of lower middle class, but they were definitely
Mm,
middle class characters for the most
definitely.
part. And the same with Together, actually, as I think about it, they were
Hmm.
again lower middle class, and that
But
kind of
middle
anxious
class
middle class,
nonetheless.
but
Yeah.
but exactly middle class nonetheless. I mean, by definition, right? They're both primary school teachers, funnily enough. So
Yeah, interestingly.
yeah,
But this
but
one,
this one,
wow. It
you
goes for
know,
full dispossession, doesn't it? I mean, the
yeah,
main characters, every single one of them is outcasts. They are not
yeah,
part of society. In fact, they're those parts of society, that they're those people that society just sort of like pushes out, tries to deny even
yeah, absolutely.
exists. They are not germane to the systems.
Yeah, they're outsiders,
Yeah.
and they're outsiders
But not by
again,
choice, not by choice, or
by
even
no
by
choice of their own.
nature,
Yeah,
right? Not even
no, no, no,
not even
that's
because of
right.
their characteristics or anything like
No,
that. It's just they're forced into the position. You know, I mean, our
hmm
two protagonists are orphans
hmm
for one, and even I mean, oh my god, I say two protagonists. There's three, really, isn't there?
yep,
We have Laura, who
we sure do.
Laura is. Laura for me is one of the great horror movie creations. She's
Yeah,
one
I
of the
agree,
great horror movie characters. This performance deserves to be right up there with Kathy Bates in Misery, with
100%. Yeah,
Nicholson and in The Shining. This is an amazing performance by Sally
yeah,
Hawkins. I
yeah,
mean, Sally Hawkins, she's been in stuff before, but she tends to do lighter work. She tends to do like slightly comedic stuff. And you can see
yeah,
that here. She's bringing that to bear here because there are
absolutely.
things about Laura that are actually quite funny and chirpy, but that just when the sinister stuff starts to break through, it it does that wonderful thing of emphasizing them by contrast, and
Yeah,
it's wonderful. I mean,
yeah,
just looking at it from the perspective of someone who's interested in human psychology, she nails. It's not just her; it's the writing, it's the direction, but it's also in the
absolutely.
performance.
No,
She
100%.
nails the narcissistic, abusive mother.
It's
She just
it's
it's sublime. It's
it's an
sublime. I mean,
it's such an intelligent performance.
it
It is
really
such an
is.
intelligent
But it's
performance.
also, I mean, she's not. What makes it work so well is that she's not just that. There's
Mm,
so much going on in this character. There's so much. If she were just one note, then that would actually make the entire movie just one note. She would just be the villain, and that would
yeah,
be it, or the monster in many respects. But she's not. She's not. She's so powerfully human,
yeah,
as are all the characters, in fact. They've all got edges, they've all got dimensions and complexities that accrue as the film goes on. But
yeah,
she is another order of magnitude. I can't get over it. I cannot get over the performance. I think it's so subtle. It's so sublime.
yeah,
The way she does little things. She does little things. They're in the script too. They're in the dialogue, but they're
yeah,
also it's those little things like very early on, and they're just little notes, tiny little notes, which you, as the audience member, the film does to you what she does to the kids. It
yes,
gaslights you. The
yeah. It's
fucking
brilliant.
film gaslights you. So
It's so
when they
smart.
first arrive at her house,
Yeah,
and she takes the photograph, and it's supposed to be
yeah,
all of them together,
yeah,
and her head is in Andy's way, so he's
yeah.
not in the photograph. You could think,
Yeah,
oh well, she's kind of, she is quite, discombobulated, and she's got two new people in her household, and oh, it's a mistake, it's an error.
no,
That's what narcissists do.
yeah,
That's what covert narcissists fucking do. I'm telling you, it's these little things, and they do it deliberately, just so just so they can say, if you dare to call them on it, they can say, "Oh, it was a mistake. I
It's the
didn't
plausible
mean it."
deniability. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the plausible
exactly
deniability
that.
of the
And then
action.
you're being
Yeah,
unreasonable, right?
of course. Yeah.
Deflect. It's so brilliant in its
Oh
portrayal
God.
of this
Yeah.
kind of abuse. And
Yeah.
because it's so brilliant, it's really triggering. I mean, like,
Yep.
oh, it's so triggering. And you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it is a horrible film too. I mean, the horror stuff is really
Yeah.
fucking horrible, and it
Yeah.
does
This one.
stuff that's
Yeah, sorry, just
oh,
it's worth bearing this in mind, like to say this as well, because like this is like so. Bear in mind, like 28 years later, a very, very gory, very violent
mhm,
movie, 15 certificate. This one is an 18, and it is an
yeah.
18 for horror, and it earns that.
Oh, this is it's totally earned. This is
Yeah,
totally. I didn't really understand the 28 years later one. I mean, I know there is Gru in it and whatnot, but there's nothing in 28 years later that made me think that's worthy of an 18 certificate.
well,
You
that's
know what
why
I
it
mean?
was a 15. That's why it was a
Yeah, it's
15.
a
But that's what I'm
15. Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, yeah.
But my point is like it was in our childhoods that would have been an automatic 18, but
Yeah,
now it's a 15, right? Because
yeah, yeah.
standards have changed. Like the long walk would have been an 18 back in the day. It's a
Mhm,
15
mhm.
now, which is
But
great because I mean I've got
this,
to take my kid and traumatize her with it. But this bad boy
this one,
absolutely is an 18,
it's
and
so earned. It's not
yeah,
just the visual gore and whatnot,
no,
and the scenes of mutilation, which, by the way, are this is it. The film is fucking unflinching. When
oh
it's
my
torturing
god,
the characters, it makes you
yeah,
sit
yeah,
and watch it. It doesn't cut away. It doesn't
yeah,
cut away. It makes you sit and fucking watch.
yeah,
And it's contextual as well. I mean, I always have an issue with things that are, don't get me wrong. There's a place for splatter. There's a place for like mutilation and
sure,
pornography and whatnot. It doesn't bother me on a moral level.
yeah,
It often bothers me in the sense that I find it boring. I actually find things like
right,
the Hostel
yeah, yeah,
films
yeah,
really dull
sure,
because once they've shot their load, they've shot their load. Once they've
yeah,
gone to a particular extremity of bodily mutilation and of gore, it's like, well, what else you got? Where's
sure,
the context? Where's the resonance for this? But here, the violence and the mutilation that you see has much wider context. It has a point behind it, and it
yeah.
makes it so much worse. So
Yeah,
much
and it's
worse.
also, and you're right that it is when it goes there, it goes there, and it's unflinching. And I think the film is like that on every level. It's unflinching psychologically. It's
Totally.
unflinching the way it goes there, as you said, with the gaslighting. I mean, actually, the moment that almost it was one of the most disturbing moments I've had in the cinema all year. It's later on in the film, but it's when she's in the hospital with Andy,
Oh God!
and they're
I
having a
had to watch it
conversation.
again. I
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
watch
yeah,
because
yeah,
I was like, the film.
yeah,
The film's fucking doing it again. It's
yeah.
it's echoing her. It's
It's so
echoing the
brilliant.
abuse. It's gaslighting the
Yeah,
fucking audience. Because again, they do this.
yeah,
Fucking
and it's
narcissistic abusers do this.
she's sitting there talking to him and she says they're having a conversation about what happened and he slipped and he's banged his head, he's in it, and he's like, you can't let her out in the rain, it's dangerous, she's going to die, because he's had this dream about his father.
Oh yeah.
And then she just says she says, why? Because your father died in the shower and I killed him.
Right. Right. And I
And
didn't. I
you see his
Yeah.
reaction, and you see him say, I can't have heard that,
Yeah. But you
I
do it
must be
too,
losing
right?
my mind. Right, it's so good,
You
it's
do it
so good.
too.
Yeah,
I
you do.
wasn't sure I'd heard it.
Right,
I
right.
wasn't sure I'd heard it. I had to
It's so
when it
fucking
came
clever.
out, I had to rewatch it, and I was like,
Yeah,
she does fucking say it.
she
She
does
does
fucking
say
say
it.
it, she
And
absolutely does. Yeah.
what's so great about the film is you don't know if it's true or not.
No, no,
She's
no,
gone
no.
so far down the rabbit hole of trying to gaslight this kid, of trying to convince him that he's crazy. That might
Yeah,
be completely nonsense, but it might be true.
I tell you, man, it's so good. It's
It is.
so,
It's
so
stunning.
good.
One of the things I love about this film more than anything else, and it's something I love not just in horror but in storytelling in general, it trusts its audience. It
Yep,
really trusts its audience. It
yep,
throws so much at you that's not explained, where my God, there's no flashbacks, there's no
right.
backstory. What you get
Yep,
is just drip feeds, and a lot of it is visual. A hell of a lot of it is
yep.
visual. The
I
mythology, the
couldn't,
metaphysics, it's just left wide open. There's no
it's
explanation of how she got the
fantastic, isn't it?
videos, which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
There's no
No, I love that.
explanation of like what the metaphysics is. So where did she get them and what's going on?
Yeah.
like, what's the
No,
wider
I couldn't.
metaphysics?
I couldn't get that out of my head, and that was, I thought, part of the brilliance of it. Because I mean, we talked about this when we were chatting about the film. Like, one of the things I love is that the medium through which the metaphysics is delivered is
Yeah,
grainy '80s VHS, and it
right.
looks like a video nasty. For those of us who grew up in that era and we got access to zombie flesh eaters, it was
Yeah.
a 10th generation copy that had been made in some, friends of a friend of a friend's basement and then circulated. They all look like that.
They look like this, right?
So,
So it's so evocative, yeah, and
yeah, exactly.
deliberately so.
Yeah,
Deliberately so.
but this is a thing. It's tapping into the psychological feeling for those of us of that generation of forbidden knowledge, and then
Yeah.
of course it's a footage of actual forbidden knowledge. It's a footage
Actual
actually,
arcane
yeah,
occultism. And,
some kind of fucked up ritual thing. It's so good.
you don't get much in the way of explanation. The base
No,
mechanics are kind of explained, but they're not explained in
yeah,
any like great detail. But
but
you don't
that's
know
what I
why
love.
it works. You don't know how
Exactly,
it works. You don't know where it
exactly.
derives from either.
Yeah.
It's not
No, you're
like
given the mechanics, right?
right,
But you're not given the deeper underlying, like what is, because she keeps calling it an angel. It's
an
like, well,
angel.
I mean, maybe, right?
Maybe.
It's
If
something.
it's, I tell you what, if it's an angel, then it ain't from no like identifiable Christianic mythology. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
This is an
It's
angel in like a high occult terms, in like Kabbalistic terms,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
you don't know. You
Absolutely.
never find out. All
No.
you really get is that it's a reality where there is magic. There is
Yep.
something other. It's highly specific. It's highly occult in nature,
Yes.
and it requires very specific conditions for it to work.
Yes. Yeah. But don't you love how, like, that's what I love about it, is like it gives you enough.
Just enough. Yeah.
You the
Just
specificity of how the ritual needs to work, and it gives you
yes.
the parameters. But then it just, it's like, well, I mean, the people filming it don't know. How could we know?
Right.
Like, how could anyone know? It just fucking is. And
I just,
again, that's, there's an
it's
essence of
so
horror there that I think is so powerful.
it's innately perverse as well. What's being
Oh
done
yeah.
here is innately perverse.
Oh my God. Right. Yeah.
It's a suspension of all natural order. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's little subtle things that you will only get if you're really watching and concentrating. So the person that they're bringing back in the video that you see at the beginning, that's the opening section of the
Hmm.
film, they hanged themselves. They don't want to come back.
Yes. Right. Right.
This is
Yeah.
like
It was a
that
suicide.
is one of
Yeah.
the most perverse things you could ever possibly do. It's perverse innately, but
Sure.
someone who actually committed suicide to force
Yep.
them back into life, a life they
Yep.
didn't want. And
Right.
through that means it's so upsetting. And of course, I mean, like
Yeah.
when you're watching that opening crawl, there's no dialogue, so you
You
don't
don't have the
know.
context.
You
Yeah.
have
No,
no
that's
idea
right.
what the hell is going on.
Well, there's the thing. All you're watching is something weird happening with a corpse, someone apparently being hung. And again,
Mm,
it looks like a snuff movie, right? Like
it
it looks like
really,
the mythological snuff movie from the '80s,
yeah,
and you're just like, oh my God, what is happening?
yeah,
And
right,
there's no explanation for quite some time. It just leaves you with all that, and then you cut to Piper and Andy, and
yeah,
I mean, one of the many things. I mean, we've talked already a bit about Sally Hawkins. We'll talk about her some more, I'm sure, because you're right. It's a performance. By the way, like a very accomplished actress. She's an Academy Award
yeah,
nominee for Shape of Water. I mean, she's
of
done.
course.
But I love that she saw this script and went, "Yeah, I want that." Because it's a part for the ages, but
Oh,
she grabbed it with both hands.
it's
She's,
a
oh my
gift,
God,
isn't it? She's such a great character. I mean, like,
yes,
multifaceted,
oh
multi-layered,
yeah,
and so, you know what I love about her? She is abusive and she's awful. In many
yes,
respects, she's really awful. But you
oh
can't
dreadful,
hate
yeah.
her.
Well, this is something that's interesting. This is how good it is because like you, I watched it again fairly recently for this, but I first time at the cinema. When I got back from the cinema, I was describing bringing it back as a horror movie about the unimaginable depths of grief and the
Yeah.
unimaginable depths that grief will sometimes take people to.
Mhm.
And actually, it's a film about a gaslighting narcissistic abuser.
About abuse.
But I
That's
was
what
so
it's more
convinced by her
about.
grief
Yeah.
in her performance. Exactly. But I
It's
was so
very
convinced by
clever.
the layer of grief in her performance that stuck with me. And like you say, it's like the movie kind of gaslit me.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get
in
me
a
wrong, her
way,
grief
you
is
know.
sincere. She really is
Yes, it
broken
is.
by this.
Yeah.
By you don't really, again, you don't get much in the way of backstory. You only get those little things, the
No.
little bits of conversation. I mean, she's unreliable, so what she says you cannot, you
Yes.
have to take with a grain of salt. You get the videos, you get to see like her family videos of her daughter and
Yeah.
whatnot, but there are these great whacking gaps. So what was her life like? And what was her life like
Sure.
for her daughter before all of this? Because the
Right.
way
Right.
she operates, that leads me to believe it may not have been that great, you know.
And there's a really interesting shot where towards the end where you see very briefly the drowned daughter in the swimming pool, and she is bleeding from the head,
Right. I mean, you can
and
read that
that's
in
not
so many
explained,
ways. You
of
can read that
course.
in so
Yeah,
many
because she could have
ways.
fallen, right, and cracked her
Right.
head. I mean,
She
there's all
could have
kinds of ways,
fallen,
but
cracked her
yeah,
head, and fallen. But you know what? Given what a control freak we know Sally is, and how
right,
utterly
right,
obsessive she is about her daughter, I can't
yeah.
imagine that that happening. I
It's
really can't.
yeah,
It's fascinating. You
it's
just
really
don't know though,
interesting.
right? It's
It's
wide
really
open.
interesting.
Because, like, I mean, the
Yeah,
simplistic reading of the film, I think, is that this is a woman who's been driven absolutely mad by grief. And don't get me, grief, trauma actually is the trigger for
yeah,
narcissism. That's how narcissism
sure.
develops. It's a defense mechanism ultimately.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah,
like narcissistic personality disorder develops. It's because of sustained trauma. So yeah, in that
yeah.
regard, psychologically, it's sound. It's sound as a pound. But I
Mhm.
think that's a simplistic reading. I really do. Given what the film doesn't tell us and the little
The thing about it
drip
is that she's
feeds,
just yeah,
I think she was
yeah,
probably
yeah.
narcissistic and abusive and controlling before this, before
The thing
the
is that she's so
inciting
good at it,
event.
right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's the
It's
thing for me. The
just
thing is that she's yeah,
it's amazing. It's actually
yeah.
blindingly good storytelling.
Oh
And of
yeah.
course, I mean, like,
No, it's incredible.
there's no father at all, right?
Yep.
We don't even. I mean, given her penchant, we know she kidnaps kids. We know she kidnaps
Yep.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Is it necessarily the case that that even is her daughter? Eh,
Sure.
not really. I mean, we
Sure.
don't know, do we? We just don't know. It's one of the great strengths
Uh,
of the film. There's just these great resonant gaps and hollows where
yeah.
it doesn't do that thing which so many films and like present day films and TV series and books and comics do, where it's like the flashback sequence. Let's fill in the gaps. Let's explain
Yeah.
everything. It lets you do it.
Or the internet archive dive, right? Where they go, oh,
Right.
look at this news story. It
Hmm.
turns out there, dot, dot, dot. And it's like, sure. I mean, if you
Hmm.
need that. But again, I think, like you say, this is a movie that has enormous faith in its audience, which I love.
Absolutely.
It just trusts the intelligence of its audience implicitly. It just says, like, no, man, we'll give you enough information to chew on, but
And
we're
it's, I
not gonna,
mean,
because you're right,
it's
the fathers are
perverse.
absent entirely, right? It's really,
Right.
yeah,
The only father you see is dead.
right.
Right.
And then
And
a haunting
also,
presence.
and also abusive himself, it transpires.
Yeah,
So,
right.
I mean, this film is also really perverse and powerfully counterculture in many, many respects. It's way more perverse than you might initially consider, I think, from like just a surface viewing. I mean, it is about grief. It's absolutely
Yeah.
about grief, but it dares to say, and I mean, it's attacking a right old sacred cow of culture. This is. It dares to say, you know what? Sometimes grief is perverse and it's selfish and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
when it's not
And
expressed properly, when it's not, when it's not worked through in healthy terms,
yeah.
it becomes innately abusive.
Yeah.
It's
And it
the
creates
way
monsters. Yeah.
it creates monsters, right? The way
Hmm.
Laura preconceives and expresses her grief is
Mm.
through abuse.
Yeah.
She conflates love with control in the way that narcissists do.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
mean, no matter how much she loved her daughter, what she's trying to do to her daughter is abusive. If her
Also,
daughter died, then as tragic and as awful as that is, she's died, you know.
But also, like, don't you know? You can't. The thing that you can't ignore is like her daughter was blind,
Right.
so her daughter was uniquely vulnerable in a specific
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And obviously, the way that that's one of the things that's so clever about the gaslighting, especially watching the movie a second time when you're really paying attention to her and watching
Hmm.
it. The way she acts, there is nothing that clues in Piper as
No.
to what Sally is, because most of the clues that we are given, I mean, you cited it earlier, it's a really early clue that there's something's wrong with Sally, that she's, that she's a
Mm,
bad person. It's the photograph, right? But of course, Piper's
yeah.
not going to know that because
Of
Piper is
course.
partially sighted, so well, blind, legally blind in the film. So
Hmm.
so Piper has no conception that the camera's pointing the wrong way, or that her brother's been blocked out of the photo.
Right. Right. And of
There's
course,
also
because of
this,
the way Sally builds her up, the way she ingratiates herself with Piper, she is
yes,
obviously going to think, well, Sally's great.
yeah, that's right. And as we know, narcissists and abusers, they groom their defenders as assiduously as they groom their victims.
Absolutely, they do.
And she had a plan. She had a plan from the beginning to separate these two. She needs
Hmm.
them to be separated. So the wedge making happens immediately. But I love that opening scene where they meet because there's so many clues. The bit with the dog freaked me out.
Yeah, it's
The
weird,
stuffed
isn't
dog,
it?
and
It's
yeah, it is weird.
very strange, and it's you know, it's there's loads of little touches like that where there's tiny little things. Some of them are visual, some of them are in the environment, some of them are in
Yeah,
just the way she moves and the way she expresses that are designed to throw you off.
right. And she does that really smart thing as well of like positioning herself as a fellow outsider, actually.
Yes.
Because she has that thing like, yeah, it's fucking weird. I'm fucking weird,
Yeah. Right.
and then she laughs
Right.
about it. And she doesn't. This is the other thing as well. Like the traditional horror movie, like the reveal of the dead kid, that would be like a end of act two reveal, right?
Uh,
Oh, her daughter drowned. Oh, but no, she just comes out with it. She's like, yeah,
yeah.
no, she that was my daughter. She was blind.
Right.
She drowned. It's all there. It's all out in the
Hmm.
open at the beginning of the film. It's just like, yeah. And again, I love the storytelling decision there, but I also love the character note of that because she understands that her vulnerability, quote unquote vulnerability, can be a weapon,
Oh,
right?
yeah. As again, like covert narcissists or what we call
Yes.
fragile narcissists. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is so that. She is so
Oh
that.
God. Well, she doubles down on it in like a couple of scenes time where there's the confrontation over the phone, and again it's pitch perfect. He leaves his phone unlocked because he goes to his sister. She reads the messages.
Hmm.
He reacts with, you know, I mean, a level of anger that you could argue about whether it's appropriate or inappropriate, but it's certainly not unjustified, right? She's
No,
looking at his private
absolutely.
messages. That's not cool,
He's a 17-year-old boy. He's
right?
just lost his father. He's just been uprooted from everything that he knows. He already has a traumatic background. And
Yeah.
this woman, as we learn again, you don't know that the film layers this up.
Nah.
You
Yeah.
don't know this until much later. She has a degree in child psychology. She
Yes.
knows what
Yeah.
she's doing. She has
Oh yeah.
worked with vulnerable kids for years.
Yeah. 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 No, all
She
of that is
knows
so
what she's
clever.
doing. And
Yeah.
everything about her, there's this whole theme in the film about boundary crossing.
Yes.
Boundaries, like physical boundaries are crossed, personal boundaries, I mean, fucking metaphysical boundaries are crossed
Sure. Sure.
in
Sure.
this film. And it's all Laura.
Yeah.
It's always Laura
Yeah.
that crosses the, well, not always, no, that's not fair, but it's Laura that does it deliberately and with agenda in mind. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, Andy crosses a couple of boundaries as well, but he does it innocently. Like when he opens her room to
Yeah.
let Oliver out, he does
Yeah.
that because he's actually trying to make a connection with Oliver.
Yeah, but also like, I mean, in a lot of the cases, I mean that's maybe the one example where it's not, but in a lot of the cases as well, you feel like Andy is manipulated at the very least over the line or pushed over the
Of
line, right?
course,
I mean
yeah. Well, I mean, she does it
that's
all the way through, doesn't she? Because
yeah,
what she's
exactly.
building up
Yeah.
is her assault upon Andy. It's the way of breaking Andy down,
Yeah.
making him into someone who can be gotten rid of quite
Exactly.
easily. That's
And
what she's doing.
and she can turn it around to, because obviously the end goal is separating the two. That's the most important thing.
Yes,
And
yes.
she's doing that from the beginning. And again, the confrontation with the phone, because he grabs the phone from her, which again is like, you could argue about whether or not that's entirely appropriate, but it's certainly a rational reaction to what's happened. It's certainly not an unreasonable reaction. And
Well,
she immediately acts like he's actually hit her.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
thing. She cries out, she shrinks up, she does that whole her body language
Hmm.
changes. Her body language changes to that of someone who's been victimized, who's being beaten.
Well, this again, this is it,
Her
right?
voice shrinks.
This
It's
is what
just, oh
abusers
my
do.
God.
This is
Yeah.
what domestic abusers do.
Oof.
They will cross boundaries constantly, and then
Yeah.
when you call them on it, doesn't matter how like aggressive or violent it is, but they
Yeah.
want it to be aggressive and violent because then they can deflect onto you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then they will act as though they are the victim.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
such a, I mean, it's a brilliant defense mechanism, but it's what they do. It's how they operate. And
Yeah.
again, 17-year-old boy who is in like the most traumatic circumstances you can possibly imagine.
He's so vulnerable too
He's
because,
so
you know,
vulnerable, and
yeah,
it's his phone. It's like it's one of the few
right.
bits of privacy and like of himself that he fucking has.
I mean, it's the only bit really, because if
Yeah.
you think about it, like he's effectively like a nearly full time carer for his sister, and clearly
Hmm.
he adores her. I mean, that's not a
Yep.
burden for him, but it is a pressure. It is
Hmm.
a what life does he have outside of her? We don't see. We don't see anything.
We
He's
don't see anything
messaging
of him.
that scene is the most we get. He's messaging someone. He's messaging
Hmm.
some friend. We never see that friend. We never meet
Yep.
that friend. He never meets that friend during the course of the narrative. He's
Hmm.
completely isolated.
Yeah. And he's expressing, I mean, okay, he
Yeah.
calls Oliver weird. Well, yeah, Oliver is weird.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
like, yeah,
But
it's
that's
like,
another
yeah,
one of those narcissistic moments when and this is the boundary crossing too, because she implicates Andy in the lie when she says, "Oh yeah, he's got red hair" to Piper, and that
what?
pulls Andy into lying to Piper,
It's
right?
so smart, isn't it? I
Ah,
mean, like in its own insidious, vile,
yeah, it's
manipulative
great.
way.
It's
It's
really
so
clever.
smart. Because, of course, again, he doesn't want to upset the apple cart. He's only just arrived,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, of
Well,
course,
and
he's
they've
going to go
already.
along with it.
I mean, he knows he's on thin ice before he even gets there because the social worker initially says we're going to separate you two, and he's like, you can't do that.
Yeah, yeah,
And she, I think that reading between the lines, almost like the social worker talks her into
yeah.
allowing him to be there. So he knows that's the clever thing. Like he is vulnerable from the very beginning. He's on the back
Hmm.
foot at the start. He knows he's got to somehow make this work. I mean, the genius of the different bedrooms, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. And the
It's
difference between them, too. I mean, he is literally shoved into what is like, it may
it's a
as well be a
storage room,
storage
right?
cupboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may as well be
Oh,
a storage cupboard, right? It's not furnished. There's a mattress on the floor.
yeah.
Um, it's, yeah,
Oh, it's brilliant.
every little tiny thing is designed to break Andy down
Yeah.
further and further and further. It's fantastic, actually, because you don't often see this. Obviously, you really don't often see this kind of abuse portrayed in any kind of media, where you have an abusive maternal figure
Yeah.
attacking the older boy.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's
really
very
rare.
unusual. It's
It's
very
really
unusual.
rare, and it's beautifully done. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's what got me. It's so believable. It's
It's a
so
yeah.
it's so acute.
Yeah. No, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic portrayal of like a dynamic that doesn't happen very often in the real world, but
Mm.
does happen sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Um, and obviously the in fiction reasons for it happening are bulletproof, right? Like
Hmm.
it's all there in the text, and it's very cleverly done. I mean, the other thing that I like that the film does is it doesn't do again, normally with a film like this, the reveal of the dead kid would be maybe end of act one, actually, you'd
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
reveal of the dead kid. The other thing is that the gaslighting wouldn't be as blatant. You'd have a back and forth where the audience sympathies would shift between Andy and Laura, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
maybe Andy's the one who's a bit of a monster, a bit of unreasonable.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't do that at all. Like Andy's being gaslit
Yeah. Yeah.
straight away, and the only bit that it plays out a little bit is that first time Andy wakes up and it looks like he's wet himself.
Yes, and I mean, I mean, I read that was like, well, yeah, the kid's
Yeah,
traumatized. The
exactly.
kid is obviously traumatized. I mean, there's the whole thing with the shower, right? Which
Yeah,
is
exactly.
perfectly understandable,
Yeah.
perfectly understandable, given what he's experienced.
But
Um,
even in that sequence, though, there's clues, right? Because when he
mm,
wakes up, he's got all that stuff all over his face, and there is that thing of like, that doesn't look quite right to me. So that the
yeah.
film's giving you the hint, like this isn't what it looks like. Even then, and it doesn't take long to reveal it either. I mean, God, that's heart stopping, isn't it? That moment where she puts the jug on the towel, right, and then pees
Oh,
into it.
Oh God,
Oh
because
my
yes,
god.
it's awful. And again, the film doesn't flinch from it
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
It
No,
doesn't flinch from it. It's so multi-layered as an expression as well. I mean, yeah, she's got like a sort of technical reason for doing what she's doing to Andy. She needs
yeah,
him gone, right? But
yeah,
it's more than that, isn't it? It's more
yeah,
than that because it's so cruel. He
yeah.
could have just got rid of him. She could have actually just phoned up the agency and just said it's not working out. He needs to go,
Right,
right?
right.
But she
But
does it
he's
in this way. She breaks him psychologically and emotionally.
I mean, but the reason for that is because she's playing a longer game with Piper. She has to. It's not just that he has to go. She wants to separate him from Piper. In fact,
Yeah,
her end game, which we find out in the last sort of 20 minutes, she's hoping that Piper will say, "Actually, I want to stay here with you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want him to be my guardian anymore because I can't trust him." That's her. That's why she's willing
Hmm.
to go to those lengths because she wants to win Piper over, and she really wants to do that before the transformation happens. Ideally,
Yeah.
just to kind of smooth that process, I guess. So there's there's
Hmm.
there's calculation behind what she's doing, but also you're right, it's fantastically cruel.
It's unfathomably cruel. I mean, like the
Yeah.
funeral sequence,
Oh my god.
you know,
Yeah.
of where she deliberately breaks Andy down. She expresses the lie that he tells to Piper.
Right.
When he says that Dad looked peaceful, he looked good.
Yeah.
And of course, he's
Yeah.
broken something cardinal there because they have that unspoken thing between them where they have the code word
Yes.
grapefruit, which basically
Yeah.
means we are telling the truth. This is serious. He
Yeah.
said that to her, and that, of course, breaks the trust. That breaks the
Yes.
that's one of the really key moments. But
Yeah.
it's also, I mean, like that is such a step beyond what needed to be done.
Yeah.
Even if that was her intent, even if that is her intention, forcing Andy to look at his father, to kiss his father, knowing what
Oh,
she
that's
knows.
it's gruesome that. I mean,
It
it's
really is
genuinely, and
gruesome.
it's skin crawling. And again, I don't know about you, but certainly first time through, I did interestingly, I found part of my brain was trying to make excuses for it, saying like, well, she's talking about custom and tradition, and
Mm,
part of me, most of me is just screaming like, get away from this woman. She
yeah.
is toxic.
I was also
But there
trying
is
to
that
think, well,
little,
is there an occult reason for it? Is she doing it? Is there
mm,
like a
right,
spell at work here where
right,
he has to make contact, he has to kiss his father in order to bring about something else? Yeah?
right. But you get the misdirection with that, don't you? Because then she leans in and she cuts
Yeah.
some of the corpse's hair, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right.
Okay. So it's more like she needed an excuse to be there.
Yeah.
And then it's again, you're just back to like, how cruel is that? That's what she's willing to put Andy through just so that she can get close enough to the guy to do what she needs, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And for a character to be this monstrous towards children, by the
Mm,
way, towards already
right,
vulnerable
right,
children,
right.
and to still be more than just a monster figure, to still be engaging,
Yeah.
And I hesitate to use, but like, obviously, you're going to have some empathy for her because she
No,
has
of
lost
course.
her daughter in an awful, awful way.
She's a monster, but she's a very, very, very human monster.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
hard not to feel that she is, as well as being monstrous, she is also tragic.
And that's
Like,
part of the
yeah.
subversion of the film, of course.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah,
part of
yeah.
what makes it so disturbing because, like, very light weapons, but I think even in a more intimate and more
Yes.
cute way here, this is about the evil of family, isn't it? This is about the innate abuse of family and of systems. So, like, everything fails these kids. Everything fails them. Like every system they're passed through, they don't come from a happy household.
No.
Piper kind of does because Piper doesn't really understand what's going on. Her
Yeah.
father, their father treats her okay by all accounts, but as is revealed, even that situation was abusive. And then they're just sort of like tossed around. And of course, you find out that the agency, whatever the agency is, didn't do its due diligence. It just said, "Oh well, this woman worked here, so she's obviously okay." It didn't actually do any background checks on her,
Sure. Sure.
so that
Yeah,
that
and
also failed her. That
but
also failed them.
it's also the fact that they're, and I can't remember which one it is, but of course they're stepsister. So Andy and Piper got thrown together when one of their mothers married one of their fathers, and you marry the other one's father, and I can't remember
That's
which way
right.
around it is.
Yeah.
I think the person. Yeah, I think it is Andy's father,
That's
and I
right. It's Andy's
think
father and Piper's
yeah,
mother get
Piper's
married.
step. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Piper's dad, the person she calls dad, is her stepdad, right?
That's right.
And again, actually, there's a cute subversion there where normally it's the evil step parent, but actually,
Yeah.
you know, Andy's dad is abusive towards his biological son, but
Yes.
not his stepdaughter. So that's an interesting kind of little twist that happens,
Isn't
on
it?
a
It's incredibly
you know,
subversive, actually,
yeah,
because it is. It again. It's these. It's very quietly attacking these sacred cows that even most horror films would not dare to. In fact, I mean, like in most traditional horror films, things like family and love and whatnot are the redemptive forces, right?
yeah,
They're what
absolutely,
drive out the demon. They're what dispel the evil. Not here. Not here. In fact, it dares to say sometimes they are the evil.
yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I mean, I think it's about the enormous potential for danger and the enormous vulnerability that's inherent in those kind of, well, actually in the nuclear family unit,
Yeah,
right?
well, that's
Like,
it, right? That's
because
it.
the power structure is so imbalanced, and everything that happens behind closed doors is
This
secret.
is it, right?
This, yeah,
It's so contrary to the way we actually have historically and traditionally operated. That's what most people
yeah,
don't really understand. The nuclear family is like
yes, no,
very new.
absolutely,
It's very
yeah,
new and it's kind of contrived. It's an artifact essentially of capitalism, right?
yeah,
It's
absolutely,
imposed upon us and it fucks us up. It is essentially, when you look at it, I mean, one of the things almost, I mean, doing my psychology and counseling degree, and one of the things that psychologists and counselors desperately want to say to so many of their patients is you feel fucked up because you're operating within fucked up systems, because
yeah,
you are
absolutely,
operating in innately abusive systems.
yeah.
When you look at the dynamics of even, I mean, even really healthy families, really like, loving, healthy, decent families, they're like little cults. The dynamic
Oh yeah,
is that of a
absolutely.
cult. The power dynamics, the hierarchical dynamics are ultimately that of a cult. Um,
And on a good day, it's a benign cult, right?
yeah, absolutely.
But it still has the signifiers because it's the secret language, it's
Yeah.
the
It's the assumptions of
the
authority. It's
assumptions of
the
authority. Yeah, absolutely. The power dynamics. All of that.
Yeah, all of that, all of that, and of course, because we are so conditioned to regard that structure and that assumption as absolute, we can't conceive of, most of us can't conceive of anything more or different, or we regard alternative structures as though they are deviant or transgressive, right? Because
That's
that's
the
how they're
thing, isn't it?
marketed to us.
Because it's that's the thing for me. It's normality or normalcy versus whatever, and that's that we have such a narrow kind of interpretation of what family must mean, and anything
Right.
outside of that is deviant and suspect. Whereas, I mean, most of us who are lucky enough to grow up and become healthy, regardless of our relationship with our birth parents and our
Mhm.
siblings, I think most of the people I know that are genuinely happy and healthy, like we have the family we have is the family we choose, right? And
Yes.
whether that's choosing to remain connected to those blood related siblings or parents that are good to us and cutting out the people who aren't, or whether it's discovering our found family, finding those people
Yes.
that we have that deep emotional connection with, that deep intellectual connection with, whatever it might be. And I think, I mean, I very deliberately use language, familiar language with my very
Mhm.
close friends because I want them to
Likewise.
understand that that's how important they are to me and that's the place
Yeah.
they hold. And, but I think it's amazing how often people will get very askance with me when I, talk about stuff like that. I have to be
Hmm.
careful. I mean, I do it less now, so it's less of an issue. But in the past, it's a little bit of a cultural landmine. If you describe someone as your big sister, for example, and they're like, oh, so what? And it's like, no, that's the
Yeah.
role she occupies in my life. We're not
Right.
actually,
We're
and
not
immediately
actually.
you get
Yeah.
this kind of, well, that's fucking weird. Why would you call her your
Yeah.
sister if she's not your sister? Well, because she is.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
in
Right.
terms of emotional importance, she is. Like, what do you mean? And
It's
that's
amazing how like sacred that still is within like
exactly
mainstream
right.
culture, though, right?
And it's particularly bizarre because you're right, it's sacred, and yet also it's a confection, really, of the
It's
last sort of
completely confection. I mean,
70
like,
or 80 years, right? Post industrial revolution.
yeah,
Because even the Victorian era, like the norm was massive
Yep.
extended family all living together. I mean, it was, the living conditions were horrific, but it was still
Hmm.
like the point was you had a huge family and people did to some degree or another look out for each other on a good day, like
Hmm. Hmm.
that, and everything prior to that that was the
Yeah.
model. And then suddenly this thing comes along, and again, it's the psychopathology of it, especially. I mean, we've got it bad. The States always has it even worse.
Oh
Like
my God, yeah. And
the way they worship
especially,
the nuclear family, you'd think it was a biblical thing,
yeah,
right? You'd think it
absolutely. And
was
of course, it's so
so
obviously it's
weird.
so not. It's so contrary to what like
Right, right.
what is considered family in the Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's wild.
and of
It's
course, I mean,
absolutely
if you
wild.
really, I mean, I wouldn't advise doing this, by the way, guys. If you, especially if you're feeling like vulnerable or anything, but just go and look at the rates of domestic abuse. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
just they're readily available. All of those statistics are readily available. It's very easy to find. Go and look
Yeah.
at the case studies and how many there are in this country alone, or maybe just in your county.
Yeah.
You will be shocked. You will be shocked. Something about these structures drives us mad. It
Yeah.
really does, because we're not meant to operate like this. We're just
Yeah.
not. No matter how much culture and society and very sinister like political movements would insist otherwise, we are
Yep.
not meant to operate like this. And it's one of those dirty little secrets in psychology and sociology that a lot of the time we're not allowed to say, especially
Right.
like when we're in like sessions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's something
I
we wish
mean,
we could.
it's a conversation I've had many times over the years with people who are, dear friends and vulnerable people or whatever. And it's just that thing of like, um, for a certain percentage of the population, and it's a distressingly high percentage, um, they will not, under any circumstances, remove toxic people from their lives if they happen
Right.
to be blood relatives. They just
Right.
are incapable of doing it.
And you can't blame people for that, because that is what we're enjoined to do, right? That's what every
It's
aspect of culture tells us is correct. If you're
it's
blood
how, yeah,
related, then somehow it's some kind of mystical bond. But you know what? In any real terms, in any objective or rational terms, it's bullshit. It's an incident,
yeah.
it's an accident. It doesn't mean anything.
No, and of course it's compounded by the fact that because in many of these cases there'll be people you spent a lot of your life with, especially if they're your
Right.
parents, your formative years. There will also be behavioural familiarities, right? There will also be,
Hmm.
I mean, completely subconscious but incredibly powerful associations. I mean, smell, right? The
Yeah.
smell of someone that you've
Yeah.
grown up with who has been your parent figure, that
Yeah.
will trigger all kinds of stuff in your brain that's real. I mean, this is biological response you will have to that person that will make it harder for you
it's a
to be
very common
objective and
it's
yeah.
a very common phenomenon when someone loses a parent, particularly someone they were close to, for them to
Yeah,
have phantom smells.
it's an
um
amazing moment in the film
mhm.
where they're under the bed while the body's been removed
Oh
and
god.
Piper's just completely devastated. And Andy, and again, we don't know at this point in the scene that Andy's also like, this is his abuser's just died, right?
Right.
So Andy
Right.
doesn't, we don't even know that, but Andy's so kind and so gentle with her, and he's like, "Take some clothes. I can't. They've been laundered. They won't smell of him anymore." Okay,
Yeah.
take his pillow, and she's hugging that pillow
Yeah.
throughout the. It keeps coming back in the film, like she's got that
Hmm.
pillow held to her, and the enormous, like the incredible, like empathy
Yeah.
of Andy there, and the way he is protecting Piper from, the grim reality of what her father was, or
Yeah, he is
stepfather was.
actually an incredibly emotionally intelligent 17-year
Right.
old.
Right. He's just well, he's taken it upon himself to become a surrogate parent for Piper,
Yeah.
right? Effectively, or a
Yeah.
guardian at the very least, right? And I just love that. I mean, I love the emotional intelligence of it to start with, but then when you have the
Yeah.
extra layer of, oh, and that's his abuser that he's kind of,
Yeah, it
oh
makes
my
it
God.
even worse. I mean, it makes the abuse that he then suffers
Yeah.
subsequently even more acute and terrible, because this kid's a good guy.
He's such a good kid, right? He's
He's
not
a
perfect,
decent.
but he's a
No.
really good kid.
I mean, like this thing. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the other thing that really got me about the film: the innate abusiveness, once again, of the systems through which they're fed. This whole
Yeah.
bullshit about how he hit Piper when he was 8 or something.
When he was 8,
It's like,
right?
fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sincerely,
Yeah.
really, kid who,
And
by
that's
the
hanging
way,
around his
is
neck for
being
his whole life.
being abused by his
Right.
father,
Yeah.
once hit his little sister. I mean, like,
By the
are you
way, like
fucking
as
kidding
someone
me?
who, right, like I'm not being funny, but like as someone who knows people who are, literal experts and professionals when it comes to child psychology and child
Yeah.
health, like this is a fact that everyone should understand. If an 8-year old hits another kid, it
Hmm.
is not the 8-year old's fault.
No.
It cannot be because they
Hmm.
are an 8-year old. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
something has gone wrong with that kid to get them to the point where they are hitting another kid.
Yep.
And some professionals need to go in and figure out what that was. But
Absolutely
it
that.
cannot be that kid's fault because
The
he's
fact that
8.
all the blame, all the systemic
Exactly.
blame comes down on Andy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah.
must be sick. There must be something wrong with him. And
Yeah.
that suspicion, I mean, that is exactly what Laura battens onto, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She's so
Well, and it,
aware of that. She's so aware of how that looks on paper and how it looks within the systems. Because, of course, she's part of the systems, or was at
exactly.
one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you
wow.
know
I
what it
mean,
is. You know what it is. It's prejudice, right? And this
yeah.
is this is what the film does really, really cleverly. It says it manages to talk about, in this particular case, actually, a prejudice against. I can't believe I'm about to say so
No,
that,
you're
but it is
absolutely right.
actually.
I know. You're
It's
right.
a
You're
prejudice
right.
against young men,
Yeah.
against and in this particular kid's case, the prejudice comes not from the fact that he's a young man, to be clear, but from the fact that he's a young man from a quote unquote broken home
Yeah.
or a non traditional,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, right? So that's the excuse to dismiss him, right? It's like, well, of
Yeah.
course he hit his sister. He's a fuck up,
It's such a real thing. It is
Yeah,
such a real thing, and not in
yeah.
some sort of like bullshit men's rights way, you
No,
know.
exactly,
It's a
exactly.
real thing. There is actually a baked in prejudice within
Yeah,
the systems when it comes to young men suffering abuse from women. And whether
yeah,
it's a mother figure, whether it's an aunt, whether it's a sister,
yeah.
it's very hard sometimes to get that identified and to get that moving. Very often, it will be dismissed.
You know what? Just to put a finger on it here, like what it is specifically is it's another example of actually patriarchy fucking up, in this
Yes,
case, fucking up men. Because
exactly.
patriarchy says men are violent.
Hmm.
Patriarchy says that is innate to the male condition.
Yep.
And therefore, when this kid hits his sister because he's,
Hmm.
oh, well, that's boys.
Yeah.
That's what boys do, right? And it's like, no, male, female, it doesn't matter. If an 8-year old's hitting a 6-year-old,
Hmm.
the professionals need to go in because something has happened
Absolutely.
to that 8-year-old.
Yeah, it's also
Because,
what Laura relies upon. Of course, he is the only male in the household, and of course, he's
yeah,
weightlifting. He's bigger than
right,
her.
right,
He's
right.
stronger than her. So
Yeah,
how could she be abusing him? Oh, you're a big, strong
right,
boy, you know.
right.
And of course, I mean, he even starts to doubt himself, right? You can see it. Again, it's Billy Barrett's performance. It's so
That's
fucking good.
so
It's
good.
so good. You can
Yeah,
see the doubt and the child that's still there because he's 17. He's a kid.
yeah.
He's a kid. It doesn't matter how big he is. It doesn't matter how like muscular he is. He's a kid. And
Well, and
the
again,
moments when he breaks down, I can't stand it.
oh,
It
it's
really fucking
amazing.
hurts. It really fucking hurts.
But also, like, also, like, he is being drugged.
Yes.
He is being
Right.
drugged. He is being gaslit. He is being made to think that he's pissing himself when he's
Yeah.
not. She
Yeah.
keeps forcing him to try and take a shower, knowing
Hmm.
that that will cause a massive psychological break for him, and knowing that there's a
Right.
general, the impact that could have on him. I mean, the poor kid is like he's just stuck in a Venus flytrap the second
Yeah.
he steps across the threshold. He has
He's
no
so
idea.
vulnerable.
It's
He's so
brutal.
achingly vulnerable, and
Yeah.
it's brilliant. Honestly, it is such a brilliant performance. And even it's so. I mean, when she deliberately gets them drunk after the funeral.
God, talk about boundaries, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
holy shit. Because how old is Piper meant to be? Like
Oh, right.
11 or 12 or
11,
something?
12, I
It's
think.
like,
Yeah.
and she's got to do in shots. And again,
Yeah.
it's the way Andy's implicated.
Yeah.
Because she's like,
Yeah.
what do you want? What would you do? And he's like, well, I'd get fucked. And he's obviously pissing her out. Like, I'll
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
loaded. He's saying it to shock. He's saying, and she's like, okay, let's get loaded. And you're like, and again, like, he is then implicated. So he can't complain about that. He can't say anything about that, right?
Right. Right.
But you're
And of
watching
course,
it. I mean, I don't know about you. I was watching that scene play out, and I'm just like, I have no idea where this is going, but I am terrified
Yeah, I'm
right now.
terrified, absolutely terrified, even though it's framed as a moment of like genuine connection with Laura,
So
right?
clever, so
It's
clever.
brilliant because I knew,
Yeah,
as the audience, that this is it's ammunition. That's what
Absolutely.
she's doing. It's
Yeah.
ammunition. She is trying to get him into a vulnerable state so that she can lure secrets out of him. Also, she's getting him drunk so she can say at some point, "Oh, he has a problem with
Yeah.
alcohol. He gets drunk. He gets,"
Yeah.
and of course, we see it happen the next morning when she just says to Piper, "He got quite aggressive last night. I'll tell you about it
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
car."
Yeah.
And it's like,
But also like, yeah, but also like the clever, and again, this is what narcissistic abusers do. She makes Andy complicit in his own abuse
yes,
by inviting him to drink, because at
yes,
that point in his mind it was his idea.
yeah.
It's a clever manipulation, but it's
It's
really
I mean,
powerful.
it's
It's,
kind
oh
of
god.
brilliant because you also know that he has prior problems with alcohol anyway, right?
Yep. Yep.
He
Yep.
has issues with this
Yeah.
anyway, and also he's 17. She's the foster
Yeah.
mother, right?
Yeah. That's right.
Again, it's that
That's right.
transgression of boundaries. It happens all the way through the film. I mean, you've even got like the symbolic boundaries of the circles that keep turning up, which are
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
cult, but they're also symbolic of the boundaries that are constantly being fucking broken in this film.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And we haven't really talked about him yet, but there's another central performance in this movie that's absolutely
Well,
towering
it's so
alongside
good
Andy
because he's
Piper.
so quiet. He's
Oliver,
I mean,
man.
Oliver, wow. I mean, again, the visual markers of abuse here
Yeah,
are really
absolutely.
strong and
Yeah.
they are really disturbing, actually. I mean, like, there have been actually, I mean, what they evoke for me, there's been a couple of really high profile cases in the Mormon church recently in the US
Mm,
where families, quote unquote,
sure.
who were really high profile because of they were celebrities within Mormon culture. They
Sure.
ran
Sure.
YouTube channels where they talked about their Mormon family and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I
And
remember
it's
reading
like
about
Mormon
this.
family, like guides and things like that. Oh, look at our wonderful Mormon family and
Yeah, yeah.
how righteous we are. And one of the boys actually escaped from that situation and went to a
Right.
neighbor's. And if you look at
Right.
there is footage. There's like footage online of him going to the neighbors saying, I'm basically me and my brothers and sisters are going to die unless you help us. He looks like Ollie.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looks like Ollie. He's withered.
Absolutely.
He looks unhealthy, man. He looks like he's been starved, like he's malnourished. Um, it's I mean, like, physically, it's a very upsetting performance.
Yeah. 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 But I think as well, for me, what's brilliant about it is it's like, I mean, the creepy kid is absolutely a staple of horror cinema and
Yeah,
horror fiction, and deservedly so, because there's nothing creepier than a creepy kid. Like it's inherent
no,
because, we think about childhood. I mean, it's, it's probably a longer conversation we've got time for tonight, but
mm,
it's interesting how in the same way that we beatify the nuclear family, we beatify childhood and
absolutely,
we
yeah, of
encode it in certain specific ways. And we forget the capacity that children have for amorality. I'm
course
not
we do.
saying that children are inherently amoral, but they have a huge capacity for amorality and a
Yes,
huge capacity for selfishness and
they
various other
do,
things.
and for
I mean, this is
perversity.
and for perversity. Like I'm not a massive fan of South Park, but I think that is actually something that South Park nailed very well, and
Hmm.
it's probably one of the most, if you had to justify its existence, it's probably the one thing I'd point to and say, well, it did do that. It
Hmm.
did take a real sledgehammer and it did it in a way that was like, you can't actually argue with this because this is what kids are
This
actually
is what kids are
like.
actually like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Ollie's brilliant. I mean, Ollie's brilliant on a whole host of levels because he absolutely
Yeah.
punctures what. So, I mean, he is the possessed child, right?
Yeah.
He is that archetype from a horror film, and he is literally that within the context of the film. He's literally that, right? But within like traditional possession fiction, the possessed child, like Regan from The Exorcist, they symbolically represent how children are basically aliens to their parents. That's what they
Sure.
represent. I mean, a lot of the blame, if you like, is placed upon the child. They do
Yeah.
something perverse. They play with a Ouija board, or they conjure a spirit, or they do something that brings the evil upon them, right? That's not the case with Ollie.
No.
That's not the case with Ollie. He represents a whole other host of things. He is, I mean, symbolically the freight that's going on there. I mean, you have to ask what is the angel? What the fuck is it?
Right. Right. Right.
Ostensibly it's a possessing entity, so
Yeah.
it could be a demon or whatever. But on a more symbolic level, it's the poison of imposed grief.
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a narcissistic, abusive adult imposing their emotion on a child. Again, it's all about
I mean,
abuse. The whole
the,
thing is
the
about abuse.
the pact that you make with the angel, in order for the angel to be successful in what I mean, I'm using the word angel in quote marks, but
Yeah,
in
right.
whatever you want to call it, for the entity to be successful, like, you know, you have to, an innocent has to die,
Yep.
and another another has to host this creature and has to do
Right.
unspeakable. I mean,
I
literally
mean,
has to commit acts of cannibalism, or
cannibalism, right? Well, necro-cannibalism. They have to
necrocannibalism, right?
eat
Yeah,
a dead body and then vomit it
yeah,
up. I mean,
right. And they
it's
will be compelled
unbelievable,
to do
isn't it?
that by the force inside them,
Mm,
right? And it's just like, this is so fucked
yeah.
up. And you're
It's a
right. The symbolism of that is it's where a family, and this does, this is one of the things that can happen. A family loses a child, and the child that gets left behind, in whatever way, overt or covert, consciously or
mm,
subconsciously on the part of the parents, gets blamed, right,
yeah. That's
for
it.
for the loss of the other kid,
Ollie,
or feels that they're being blamed, and that's Ollie, right?
right.
Ollie's the scapegoat. Ollie's the
Yes,
the
yeah.
sacrificial lamb.
Ollie represents what happens to a child's identity when a parent's emotions become so all-consuming and impositional that they destroy them. There's nothing
Yeah,
left of them, They become a vessel. They ultimately just become a vessel or an expression of what the parent figure wants or needs or is
yeah.
expressing. That's what happens to Ollie. I mean, I love the fact that the film actually undercuts that, and he does get his identity
No,
back
I
to a
certain
certain
that.
degree towards
I
because I wasn't
absolutely love
expecting
that.
that. If I'm honest, I thought
No.
Ollie was done. Given what he
Yeah.
fucking goes through, I thought
And
just
no, that
physically
was
alone, I thought he was done.
again, I think, one of the ways in which the film was so kind of emotionally and intellectually sure-footed, because it is a very bleak piece of cinema, and it's
Mm.
very unforgiving, and it's very unflinching. But I felt the decision to give us that moment at the end where Oliver is actually spared,
Oh,
not just spared, but is returned, is
he's
delivered, right?
returned. Oh
And you're
my
just
god.
like, I'm genuinely, because they didn't have to do that.
No, they didn't. No, they
And
didn't. In fact,
if you wanted to go full bore nihilism, then you wouldn't. And I think it was actually a brilliant choice on the part of the
yeah,
filmmakers to do that, because it gives you it gives you a glimmer of hope, it gives you
just
a
that
crumb of
hint, right?
comfort.
But
And
there's
I
also
think,
like a
yeah,
dark resonance as well. Like, what happened to the quote unquote angel?
sure, sure,
Where
sure,
is it? It seems
right,
like, I mean, once Laura is gone, then of course the impositional emotion that he was pregnant with, the poison of her quote unquote grief and love, i.e., her controlling obsession with her daughter, was dissipated,
yeah.
obviously. So he could start to heal. He could start to become himself again.
Well,
Um,
but crucially, also, he's taken outside of the circle of abuse.
that
He
too, right?
crosses the chalk line, right, and
Crosses the
that's, or the salt line.
boundary.
Yeah, crosses the boundary,
Yeah.
exactly. But in his case, it's crossing the boundary to escape.
To
It's
escape, yeah.
breaking
He's
literally breaking the circle.
he's literally breaking out of the obsessive compulsive circle of family. He is actually, of the toxic little family structure that Laura has created here.
Because that sequence in the film, where, and I mean, this is one of I think two or three of these insane. I mean, like, when's the last time you saw? And I mean, some of them are digital, right? But most of them are
Mm.
physical effects. Like, I don't remember the last. I mean, this is we. I think we're back in Hellraiser 2 territory here in terms of,
Oh,
like, brilliant physical
uh,
effects, right?
I wanted. It's been so long since I wanted to look away
Yeah,
from a
right.
film,
Yeah,
from an
yeah.
image on screen.
No,
There's a couple here where
it's so weird. Like,
I really
I,
wanted to like shy
I
away.
I physically flinched in my seat. I
Yeah.
physically, like, crawled, like, pushed myself into the
Yep.
corner of my chair, and just sort of, I was watching, but I didn't want, I was squinting, like,
Hmm.
wanting to look away. And it's, the sequence where, and oh God, it's so heartbreaking, because Andy's trying to bond. And that's the other
Oh,
thing. In the scene, you see Andy and you think, if this guy can get straight, he's going to be a brilliant
it's going to be all right, right?
counselor or
Yeah.
therapist, or foster parent himself someday, because he's instinctively, with Oliver, like, oh, I'll get you a pen, then you
Yeah.
can write. I'm going to give you this melon, but it's a trade. You're going to have to
Yeah.
start talking to me. But the way he does it is, it's matter of fact. It's caring. It's
Yeah.
respecting Oliver's boundary. You don't want to talk. Okay, you can write. but he's trying to get the kid communicate. You know, you're thinking like, Jesus, man, this guy's good. Like
He's
he's
so
really,
good.
and you realize like he's developed those skills with Piper probably, right? Like
Yeah, of
working with her, and
course.
he's and you're just like, God, this kid's got such a future in him if he can just get through this.
Yeah.
And then he turn. Oh, it's so clever. He turns away, right? It's like I'll get you a plate, and
Oh.
you hear that crunching noise. You're like, no, no,
Oh.
no, 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 no. And
It's
like
one of the most
first time
upsetting
through, right?
sequences.
First time through, you're not quite sure what the noise is, but it sounds very, very bad. Second time through,
Yeah.
it's far worse because you know what you're about to see. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, no, no,
The
no.
tension, because you just, and you don't want it. It's one of those wonderful things. I
Right.
mean, a lot of horror, like really good horror, does this where you know what's coming, and
Yeah.
you're like, no, please don't do it.
Please
Please,
don't do
please,
it.
please don't do it. Be different,
Yeah.
right? Even if you've seen the film before, you're like, please be different this time.
Yeah. It's
And
extraordinary.
the fact as well that it doesn't shy away from the the physical mutilation of children. I mean, that's
Yeah.
ultimately what it is. You know, the
Yeah.
physical abuse and mutilation of children. It
Yeah.
doesn't do its audience the disservice of shying away from that. It wants you to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
It wants you to
And
see.
it's so horrific. Like you get the close up, you can see like one of the teeth has been hacked out of his face by the blade because he's trying to chew on it. You're just like, oh, come on, man.
And of
Come
course, I
on.
mean, it escalates later, of course, when he is very visibly pregnant with this angel, with this
Oh, yeah.
creature. And of course Laura, because Laura doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Obviously,
Yeah.
this is all a grand experiment for Laura. She has no idea what she's doing, and she
Yeah.
loses control.
Yeah.
She loses control, and he's eating like splintered bits of table and his a strip of his flesh from his own arm,
Oh
and
God, yeah. I mean, when he bites through the table, and again, his teeth are all mangled from the knife earlier as
yeah,
well. So you can see all that, and it's just. But also, he's starting to transform at that point, right? Like his
yeah,
eyes have changed color, and his teeth are becoming almost vampiric or
mhm,
animalistic. They're sharper than they should be. There's more of them than they should be.
yeah,
They're bigger than they should be. Oh my God. I mean, it's just. But the thing is that I was thinking, going back to the knife scene for a second. Part of the what's amazing is like on top of the visceral body horror at the moment, there's also the kind of emotional horror of like Andy,
yeah,
holy shit, and he grabs the kid and he crosses the boundary with the kid,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And Oliver immediately starts flopping like a fish, right? And
yeah,
again, you know, the rippling under his skin. And they're so close. This is the other thing the film's so good at. They're so close. They're so close. And
yeah.
then here comes the abuser, turns
You
up, drags them
know,
back in, and you're
right?
just like, oh my
It's so
God.
brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
you used to see this a little bit in like older horror films. 70s horror
Yeah.
used to do this kind of thing a lot. 80s horror used to do this thing quite a lot, where it would give you that just that glimpse of potential redemption, and then
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
snatches it away.
Yeah.
It snatches it away. It's when Annie Wilkes's car turns up in the drive again, and he's
Absolutely.
not going to get out. It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It is, and the acting. I mean, I know we keep going on about this, but it
No,
is
it's
what
so
makes the
good.
film. I mean, beyond
Yeah.
anything else, it's what makes the film. Billy Barrett in that moment, he
Yeah.
is. He's so brilliant because he's
Yeah.
reacting like a 17-year-old. He's not quite a man, he's not quite a boy, but the
Yeah.
boy is coming out because he doesn't know what to do. He's breaking down, he's crying. And you feel for him,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Because it's an impossible situation.
It's
And
an
he's,
impossible
and he,
situation because it's like this is like adults wouldn't be able to cope with this because this is it's
no.
abstruse, it's weird, it's magic, right? It's dark magic.
Yeah. 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 No, it's completely
Wow.
crazed. And he's still trying. You know, he's still
Yeah.
trying to do his best, and it's so upsetting. And of
Yeah.
course, like again, the way his story plays out, the way the whole narrative plays out. I was thinking, oh, by the way, how tight is this film, man? Because it's an hour and three quarters. It is so tight.
There's
Like,
not an inch
oh,
wasted. There is not a
there's not an ounce
moment.
of fat, is there?
There's
It's
there's
incredible.
there's no like there's no pendulous bits of
No,
exposition
no,
or
no. There's no
backstory
indulgence
or
at all.
and the temptation for, quite frankly, lesser creators, for lesser
Yeah,
filmmakers would have been, let's find out why Laura is the way she is. Let's find out where Ollie
absolutely.
comes from. Let's
Yeah,
find
yeah,
out
yeah,
like what the mechanism is. Do you know what I mean? Just as a brief aside, do you know what really freaked me out? When you see the angel
yeah.
for that brief moment,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's like you don't see it. You don't really see what it looks like, but it's fucking weird and
Yeah.
disturbing, and it looks like something from the woods. Do you know what I mean? It looks like
Yep.
a woodland spirit of some
Yeah.
description, something
Oh, it's
made
so
of the
good.
trees or of plants, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it's an organic thing.
loved
Yeah. No, it's
that.
so great.
I loved that. So, and I love the fact that you're scared for Laura at
Oh
that
yeah.
moment because she doesn't know
Yeah.
what she's doing.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And no, I love it so much. And like you say, when the kid goes out of control, but also like for me, I think the brutality of the last act is so impressive
Oh
from
my!
the
Oh,
because
Wendy! Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh no! I mean, okay, yeah, she's part of the system and she fucks things up, but she's a good she's a good person, isn't she, Wendy? She's trying.
She's at the very least she's diligent,
She's
right?
a decent person who is
Yeah.
absolutely hamstrung by the systems that
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
in. You get the
And
impression.
a bit by her own prejudices too, to be
Yes,
completely fair.
absolutely.
But she's
Absolutely.
still gonna do the right thing. Or
Yes, and
trying to do the right thing. Yeah.
she does realize she goes with Andy, you
Yeah, she
know?
does.
Doesn't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
do that. She actually, I mean, much to her tragedy, she goes with
Sure.
Andy.
Sure.
Um, and her reactions are great too, because she
Yeah,
knows this woman. This woman was her friend for
exactly.
the longest time, and when she starts to notice,
I tell you what, my favorite character note for her is when she goes in, she's shown into the kid's bedroom and she looks around and she says under her breath, "Good job the kid's blind." She takes in the decorations. That it's such a brilliant character note for that character. It's so funny. And God, do you need a laugh at that point in
you
the
are
movie as
right.
well?
Because again, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah,
You
absolutely.
know it's going to
Yeah,
shit, and you're
yeah,
waiting. You're
yeah.
just
I tell you
waiting
what,
for it.
you were talking earlier about how the central performance of like Sally Hawkins as Laura was up there with like Annie Wilkes
Mhm.
and Nicholson in The Shining, and I co-sign that. I think it's better than Nicholson actually
Yeah.
in The Shining. To be perfectly honest with you,
Hmm.
it's a towering performance. This moment, this is the moment I thought of The Shining because I thought this is Halloran going into the hotel and it's going to go
Yeah.
exactly the same way as that did,
Yeah.
and it does.
It does.
It's the brutality of that because again, and I think that's one of the few. I think that is a digital effect. It's one of the few digital effects in
Mhm.
the film because I only worked that out because it was watching where they get where the car comes out and hits them and there's no cutaway, there's no snap to it.
Yeah.
They look like they're just there and they get mulched and it's like
Yeah.
so they can't obviously that can't have been a physical effect with the actors and they were
Of
moving a
course.
second before and it can't have been dummies because you'd see the cut and it would look different so that almost
Mm.
had to be digital but I love that that's an intelligent use of digital effects right
Yeah.
to achieve something that you can't do not because people don't get run over in real life because you can't run someone over for real in a film but you
Right.
want to look like you
Right.
have so the traditional techniques for doing that, or you cut away, or you cut to a dummy, or you cut to a
Mm.
close up, or you do. But they were like, no, I want to show these two people get hit,
Yeah.
so we
Again,
do it digitally. It's
it's
so
part of the
smart.
manifesto of the film, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, no,
It's
that's
so
why.
clear that the filmmakers sat down and said, you know what, we are not we need you to see
Yeah,
the consequences of this violence. We need
that's
you to
right.
see it because that's part of what the film is.
Yeah,
It's part of
and
the messaging of the film.
it is so fast. I mean, it's like it's maybe a second of footage, maybe a
Yeah.
second and a half of them getting hit by the car, but it is, and you suddenly realise it's
Yeah.
breathtaking and it's shocking. Seen people get run over in films a million times, but you've never actually seen it.
No, not
You
like
haven't ever
this.
actually seen it.
Not like
It's a
this.
cutaway or it's a dummy or it's a like it is never like this. It's
Yeah.
so visceral, and it's. I mean, I'm sorry, like in one sense, that's a very mundane horror. People get hit by cars every fucking day.
Hmm.
In the world, like that's it's something that it's a horror that we've just learned to live with. It's just day to day life. It's one of the things that happen. People get hit by cars, but seeing it in that visceral way, just be like shit, man. And again, it's
Yeah.
the domesticity of it adds to the horror. Like that's such a mundane thing, and then you're forced to actually reckon with what it means, what it does to these two healthy bodies that were functioning humans
It's
a
such
half
a
second before, and now they're just fucking mincemeat,
You are so right. It is like such a mundane thing because, of course, in cinema, in all sorts of cinema, you see people get hit by cars all the fucking
Right,
time, and
right,
it hardly, usually it doesn't have lasting consequences. Usually, and even if it does, you don't really see it. It's an effect. You know, it's an effect.
yeah,
So this makes you recoil.
yeah, that's
It's
brilliant.
so, and of course, the fact that it's happening to Andy as well.
Oh my God. And then
It
of
was,
course the denouement where Andy fucking survives, right?
oh,
And he's barely
it's
breathing
it's the
and she just
worst. It's the worst.
drowns him in the puddle. Oh my
It's
God.
I mean it does. I mean it's brilliant as well because it that it's a very brave storytelling thing to do because you've just gotten rid of your protagonist. You've gotten rid of your
Yeah. Yeah.
audience identification for the first two
Yeah.
thirds of the film, and
Yeah.
suddenly you're with Piper.
Right. Right.
Brilliant. I mean
It is brilliant.
that could have not worked.
Yeah, no, it could have not
That could
worked.
have failed. It could have failed hard. You know.
But I think the film's done a really good job of letting us see Piper through Andy's eyes. And we kind of love
Yeah.
Piper by that point in the film,
Yes.
right?
Of course we do.
And we kind of love their relationship. So we immediately transfer our affections to Piper, right? Like, okay,
Yeah.
Piper, get out of here somehow. And
Yeah.
this is something else I wanted to talk about as well, because it highlights something I think that's really important. We've talked about a lot about this film, about how it's highlighting vulnerability, and we've described the ways that, in particular, the ways that that Andy is vulnerable, even though he's, a white male, he
Yeah.
still actually has certain vulnerabilities because there are other axes of oppression
Right.
as well as gender and as well as race. They are
Hmm.
important, but they are not the only axis of oppression. And there are other axes of oppression where Andy is underclass and Andy is
Hmm.
vulnerable. But of course,
Well,
his
I mean, he is technically still a child, and children are
that's
one
also
of
the
the
point. Yeah,
most marginalized
yeah, no,
groups
absolutely. Yeah,
in all cultures, not just one, but
no,
all
absolutely.
cultures and throughout history. So you know,
Yeah. So absolutely, but also like Piper, his stepsister, is blind,
yeah,
and it's one of those things where I remember, at the start of the film, again, we've seen, I think, a lot of well-meaning. I'm just going to slur liberals because I'm angry, and it's like,
yeah, I am
I
yeah,
think, you
I'm
know,
very angry at liberals at the moment. So you know,
well, yeah, we've got good reasons. So,
yeah,
like, but like the kind of liberal propaganda of like, oh, but I mean, it's the classic thing, right? Oh, well, don't your other senses kind of blah 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 to make it better and thing? And it's like, oh, for fuck. So, like, well, yeah, you
yeah,
have to listen harder because you can't see shit. But no,
right,
it's not. I don't have. I'm not Daredevil. I don't have
yeah,
radar vision. I'm
right,
fucking blind, and it
yeah,
sucks, right? Like, and I think the film does a really good job of it doesn't sugarcoat the way her blindness is like the
no,
girls taking the piss out of her behind
ah,
her back and Andy's
yeah,
decision to shield her from that, but the cruelty of those kids and
yeah,
the way throughout the movie we see Laura pulling this shit that she can get away
hmm
with in part because she knows that Piper won't see what she's doing, literally won't see
oh,
it
it's one of
you
the more
know
interesting notes with Laura, actually. She did have a visually impaired child, and yet
right.
she utilizes
But I
Piper's blindness
that's
to
one of
be
the things I've
abusive, to be
that's one
really
of the things I
cruel.
find really, really interesting about this, right? And this is what, and I'm not even going to try and unpick this, but what does it tell us about Laura that she wants to resurrect her daughter and she's decided she's going to resurrect her daughter into another blind girl?
I
Because,
never thought of that. But
right,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
really fucking interesting,
isn't it? Isn't
right?
it?
Yeah,
Wow. You also get, I mean, you get that moment, you know, when Piper says to her, and it's the kindest thing. She says, you know, I want to live with Andy. We will be,
right.
but we'll visit.
We'll
And
visit
then,
you at weekends. Yeah,
but then Laura punishes her for that.
yeah, yeah,
She takes her to the freezer and gets. I mean, Piper doesn't know what she's touching. It could be anything,
yeah.
but she gets her to touch the corpse, and it's not anything to do with like the process. It's not anything to do with the occultism or
No,
anything. It's like a veiled threat, or
yeah.
it's a punishment for her not wanting to stay. It's very narcissistic, you
It's
know.
very narcissistic. I also think I think part of what's going on there is Laura trying to process what's about to happen in some
Yeah,
way. And I
yeah,
think it's totemic for Laura, but that doesn't take away from what you're saying at all. It's also
yeah.
very manipulative. It's also and it's manipulative in kind of the worst way because it's like Piper will never know,
Right, right.
what that
It's
moment was
almost
about. That's control.
it
That's
is, isn't it?
ultimate power and control.
It's almost like Laura is trying to convince herself that Piper is like that she's introducing
Yeah.
Piper into the conspiracy of it
Yeah,
somehow, as though
exactly.
she's complicit now. You're part of it
Yeah.
now, and so you can't complain. That you
That's
know,
it. Yeah.
it's yeah,
It's gruesome. It's
it
really
is.
like emotionally gruesome. Like it's really
Yeah,
impressive. But the thing is, I'm bringing all this up to say like the way the film portrays Piper's disability is spot on. And for
Hmm.
me, genuinely, the moment that really hit me so hard because it's it's very cruel, but it's
Hmm.
also completely narratively justified. It's when Piper nearly gets away and she turns around and she just runs
Yeah.
head first into this metal pillar that's
Yeah.
in the middle of the room. And it, oh my God, it broke my heart because it's
Yeah.
like the thing is the the there's a complexity around the storytelling when
Hmm.
you're dealing with writing characters with disability because
Yeah.
one of the things I think this film does so well is it's gotten past the point of like because I'm watching that fight and there's a bit of me that's like, oh please just let her get out, just let her get out, just let
Yeah.
her get out. I want her to be empowered in that moment. I want her to
Yeah.
escape. And it is narratively cruel what happens to her, but it's also of a piece with the real vulnerability that you have when you have a disability, whatever
Yep.
that might be. And I love that the way the film just does it in a kind of, it's just like, yep, that's something that can happen to you
Yeah.
if you're blind, right? And it's just like, God, that fucking sucks. But
Yeah.
also like, it's not her fault, and she's trying, and
Yeah.
it's just, oh my God. And I just thought it
Also,
was so
you
good.
know, terribly scared, abused
Right,
child who's just
right,
realized her brother is dead.
right. I mean, she's a
You
fucking
know,
superhero in that moment because
yeah.
she strikes back. She gets out of her
Oh, she
grip.
does.
And you're
Yeah.
just like, that's the thing, isn't it? Your heart soars. You're like, go
Mhm.
Piper. And then she just runs into that pillar and you're just like,
Mhm.
oh, fuck.
And again, the film's doing that wonderful thing of undercutting your expectations because, of course,
Yeah,
again, it is that thing that you were
yeah,
talking about, where it's almost like that liberal sensibility of wanting to apologize for the blindness, right? Where it's
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
let's have the empowering moment where she takes control, and it's like, well, no, that's not realistic. That's not the solution here. You
right.
know, that would have actually cheapened
Yeah.
everything about the film if that was the case.
The other moment, actually, you reminded me, the other moment that I really felt like that is when, and I got, how many times have we seen this in this kind of film? Even in movies I like,
Mhm.
when it cuts immediately after he's been hit by the car and you've got Andy and his head's by the puddle and he's breathing.
Yeah.
And you're close up and he's clearly like concussed and he's out of it and
Hmm.
he's bloody, but he's breathing. And she goes over to him and it's like every other fucking horror movie in the world, he gets dragged into like he feigns death and he gets
Yeah.
dragged into a room and then he comes out and the way that she so matter of factly rolls his face
Mhm.
into the puddle and drowns him, it's like she's saying to us, like, this ain't that
No.
fucking
Yeah,
movie.
this is not that film. You are,
This
this
is not
is,
how that
yeah.
goes.
Also, innocence is not a defense
There
here.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no shield. And of course that's brilliant because then when Piper runs into the pillar, you're like, oh, this is actually going to happen now.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
I mean,
actually going to fucking happen. Oh
it,
my God.
it also sets up that wonderful moment where you hear his voice and you're like,
Mm,
what?
yeah.
What? And of
Yeah.
course, you find out that there's just another interesting capacity of the angel, actually. It mimics people.
Yes.
Isn't that fascinating? And of course,
Yeah.
the reason it mimics people is because Ollie has no identity, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have
Yeah.
anything else. It has to
Yeah.
mimic people. It doesn't have anything else.
But
Um,
also there's the implication that it's trying to attract her for what
yeah,
exactly?
for
What's it gonna
whatever.
do?
What? Well, yeah, no. I think
Eat her,
at that
probably, right?
point,
Because that's what it's doing,
the
basically.
angel is desperate for the ritual to be complete, isn't it? You know, it really wants to
Well, now
transfer. You know.
that's an interesting thing because I wonder about that too. It feels to me like, and I might be wrong about this
Mhm.
because this is all implied storytelling. This is me riffing.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was thinking about, especially on the second viewing, was like I think the ritual is actually itself some kind of like perversion or imposition on whatever this creature is and whatever. I
Yep.
don't think it wants to do. I don't think this is what it's designed to do, if
No.
design's the right word. I don't think this is its purpose. I don't think this is certainly not its will.
Hmm.
Because when I see it on that feeding frenzy, I realize like, oh no, this is a creature of appetite,
Yeah.
and it's almost like the ritual is a way of exploiting a byproduct of something
Right.
that this weird supernatural force can do. You know what I mean? There's that
It's so
implication of
bizarre,
like,
but it's kind of a victim,
oh,
isn't it?
well, and it's
It's
also like the
kind of a
idea that,
victim.
yeah, and the idea that even with this supernatural creature, what it's being forced to do is even by its standards unnatural
Yeah.
in some way, right? Is an
Yeah.
imposition, is that, and it's like, oh, this is so fucked
There
up.
is there is a
So
wider
great.
meta commentary about
Yes.
the indulgence and the selfishness of certain expressions of grief.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, and as you said,
wow.
specifically like the narcissistic expressions of
Yeah,
grief, right? That's the
exactly
thing,
that.
and where
It's
grief
when you
triggers
get,
that
yeah, it's
narcissism. Yeah,
when, I mean, there is like, there's the whole, the whole thing of the stages of grief. So you go through anger,
yeah,
bargaining, all that
yeah.
kind of thing. And most psychology will cite the bargaining stage as like the narcissistic stage.
Right,
I can't remember her name, but I was reading a paper by a psychologist and she described it as a vicious cycle of what ifs. That's what the
right.
bargaining stage
Yeah,
is. It's where
yeah, absolutely.
you revert to being a child in that when you are in that phase because suddenly you're appealing to things you know don't exist or can't help
Yeah,
you. You
blind
want the
authority. Yeah,
universe to rearrange itself around you,
yeah,
to
absolutely.
indulge you. It's
Yeah,
not about the dead person.
no, no.
It's not for
Whatever it
anyone
is you've
else. It's for
lost.
you.
Yeah,
It's for you.
absolutely.
And people like Laura who are emotionally
Yeah,
stunted, who are narcissists, they can't get out of that because of course everything
yeah.
is a function of them.
Because
It's about them. It's about nothing
I,
else.
and I think this is where the stuff about disability is so important. Because I think the fact that Laura's daughter was blind as well is
Mm,
incredibly significant. Because I think whether or not whether or not Laura had always been this person, I think because she had a disabled daughter and because of the way she responded to that,
hmm.
I think Laura was already putting those building blocks of narcissism in place.
Yeah,
Because the way she is with Piper, you can see that it's although she's ostensibly being kind, and obviously we know she's grooming Piper in this particular
yeah,
case, obviously, but there's also the layer of like she is clearly experiencing a sense of power
yeah.
over
That's
this vulnerable person in her life. And she
that's it.
almost certainly will have learned that with her daughter. And she may have
Mm.
only used that power for benign purposes when it was her daughter,
But probably
potentially,
not.
but probably not. And also, regardless of whether or not it was, there's still an unhealthy impulse there, right? There's still an
Mm.
unhealthy level of psychology there. So, of course, when her daughter dies, however that happens,
Yeah,
all of the tool, like the building blocks for the narcissism, are already there,
yeah. Right,
right?
right.
And
But
it's just,
people,
oh, it's so
it
smart.
is brilliant. It's so intelligent. And people like Laura, they wouldn't actually understand the difference. They conflate the
No,
obsession and the
no, no,
control
no,
with love.
absolutely.
That's
Oh,
what they
yeah.
think it is. That's what they think
Well,
it is.
Laura's motivation in the entire movie is an act of love from her
Yeah.
perspective. She is
Oh,
bringing her daughter
she's
back. It's
romantic.
an,
She's done what narcissists do. She has
yeah,
romanticized and
yeah,
mythologized this. That's why anything is permissible, right?
yeah.
It's why any sacrifice can be made. It's why she can kidnap and kill and torture children.
It's that incredible scene when the mask finally, and it's great as well because she does that super tidy up. Wendy comes around, and you have that moment where
Mm,
you're like, "Oh shit, she's going to get away with it." Wendy's just
yeah,
going to walk away, and you're just like, "I don't know what happens then." And
yeah,
then, and it's, it's. I mean, this is Shakespeare, right? It's literally, it's the bloody hand, right? She's bleeding,
right.
and Wendy sees it, and she can't hide her wounds anymore.
Yeah,
And the way, again, I mean, it's the performance is amazing throughout, but the way Laura's face changes when she
yeah.
realizes Wendy's, and she's like, "Please don't do this.
It's the
I'm
mask
trying to."
slipping.
Right, for the first time, maybe in the entire film, we see a
Yeah,
glimpse of the real, and she's like, "Don't, please don't. I'm trying to save my daughter. I'm trying to do
yeah,
something special. You can't. You just got to. Please, we've been friends a long time." And it's this desperate. And again,
yeah,
what were we just saying? It's bargaining.
yeah. Oh yeah,
That's what.
and
That's what
I've
it
seen,
is.
I've seen that. I have seen
Yeah,
that exact thing in various situations, and it's spot on. It is
yeah,
spot on. They are like that. They are
yeah,
like the covert or fragile narcissist is like that. They appeal to pity.
yeah.
They appeal to sentiment. They get
Oh yeah,
desperate so that you become the aggressor. Their
yeah,
voices raise. They start to babble.
yeah,
This is how they work. This is
yeah,
it is so I can't get over it, honestly. I cannot get
no,
over
it's
the
extraordinary.
intelligence of it. I cannot get over how smart this film is
Yeah,
and
both in the writing
effective.
and the performance, it is
Uh,
just extraordinary.
and it deserves, I hope, I mean, it is getting so many kudos at the moment. It is
Yeah,
being assessed, it is being analyzed, it's being talked about. People are responding to it. This is the filmmaker's second film, isn't it? The first one was
yeah.
Talk to Me, yeah,
Talk to me. Yeah,
which I
yeah,
liked. Talk to Me was very interesting. I liked it fine. I didn't like it. I mean, I don't think it is very much like the first film, right? So it's not
yeah.
quite as developed as this one. This, I can't believe they've come so far
Yeah,
in the
no,
space
it's
of a
amazing.
film. You
Yeah.
know, this is
I mean,
extraordinary. I mean, it is the
yeah.
thus far, it is the standout. It may just be the standout film of the year.
Mm,
Full stop.
yeah. And again, considering just how jazzed we've been about all of the horror releases we've had
Right.
just over the summer, you know,
I
how
and
hyped we were about weapons. I mean, I'm very interested to see what you make along when you get to it.
yeah,
Like,
oh,
but
I
there's,
will. I'm making a
yeah,
point of going to see that.
yeah,
I am making a point of going to
it's
see
your
that.
kind of nihilism, man. I think you're going
Yeah,
to dig it a
I
lot.
think so.
But it's yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the one because it just. I tell you what, because I just can't stop fucking thinking about this one. That's the
Right.
thing, and my mind just keeps coming back to it, and it's a
You know what's
different
really
facet
weird
each
as
time.
well?
Like, go,
I don't know if I'll ever watch it again.
oh, that's
I
interesting.
just don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I mean, I be under
yeah.
no delusions as to that, guys. It is absolutely astounding, but it's hard.
I think it's one that I'm going to watch with people. I think it's one that I'm
Yeah,
going to show to people rather than I would
yeah,
sit and watch by myself. But it will be one where I'll be like, "Have you seen this? Okay,
yeah.
strap in." You
I
know, for
found
some people, you know, the right audiences. I think that's the thing.
yeah. In fact, I would say that the fact that I found it difficult to watch is an endorsement.
Yeah.
I think that's a big ass endorsement
Oh,
in it.
you want a really big? I give you an even bigger endorsement. It's harder to watch the second time.
Yeah, yeah.
Even harder to watch the
When
second
you
time because
know,
you know what's coming. It's
yeah,
brutal. It is so brutal and so brilliant. But it's worth what it's also it demands a second watch
it does
because the second
because
time you just see the
oh,
craft, right?
and yeah, there's so much in it too. I mean, like
Yeah.
symbolism is everywhere in this film. There's not a like it's like you said earlier. There is not a wasted frame.
Nope. Nope.
Everything
Absolutely.
you'll notice things. You'll notice the unspoken language of the film. Also,
Yeah.
there's all this weird stuff in it. In the
Yeah.
the early videos, some of the demons from Talk to Me are just there, just for a moment, just for like a
Oh, okay.
for a flash. So there is this almost like implication of a wider
Like a
reality
shared
here.
universe or
Yeah,
yeah. No,
yeah.
that's
But
cool.
also there is script in the film. There are words and things that flat you it's blink and
Mm,
you'll miss it. They're almost subliminal, and they seem to be in Greek.
right.
I don't know what they say. I don't
Yeah.
know what the implications are. I'm sure someone is going to like interpret it at some
Yeah.
point, but I love that shit. I
No,
love that
absolutely.
shit. The filmmakers are just like dropping little things in there, and you know these guys are Kubrickian. They really are. Everything has a purpose. There's that great shot, you know,
Yeah.
when they first drive up, when Piper and Andy first drive up to Piper's house, and they're framed through the circle of the fence,
Yeah.
and it's like, ah, you're caught in the ritual now, aren't you? You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's really
it's
smart.
so
But also,
brilliant.
even like more mundane symbolism, the fact that at the start of the film, like Andy's taping his rear view mirror to the car, and then as
Hmm.
soon as they park there, that falls off. Like he loses the ability to see things clearly.
Yeah, right.
And the way that that mirrors what's happening because he's being drugged, right? That mirrors what happens to his perception. Because the
Yeah,
other thing is like that's one of the horrifying things going through the film the second time and really digging into Andy's perspective. Like he doesn't know what's happening to him.
right.
His horror at his own behavior because he's drugged. He doesn't actually understand that he's being, you know,
Yeah,
ah, God, it's so like it. You know, you feel for him even more the second time through because it's just like this
yeah.
is so. It's so unpleasant. It's
That's the
so
stuff I find
awful.
hard, funnily enough. That's
Yeah,
the stuff I
yeah.
find the hardest. It's the subtle, quiet moments of abuse that I
Oh, it's
find
so rough.
really, really hard
It's just
to
Andy's
watch.
bafflement, right? Andy's
Yeah.
trying to make sense of it. Just hurts.
It's the
I mean,
you want to reach through the screen and tell him. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You
yeah,
you want
yeah.
to shake
So
him and you want to
badly.
say like, yeah, that's the impulse, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the impulse that it arouses, and that's what makes it so awful.
But also, that's the power of the horror because what you want to say to him is grab Piper and run. But then you
Yeah,
realize, like, this is the thing. This is a real life horror, right? Narcissistic abusers exist. They exist in
yeah,
family units and are hidden. And those kids, they cannot fucking run. They
no,
have nowhere to run to.
I have
They
no
have no one
choice.
who will take them in. They have
Yeah,
no one who will believe them. So
it,
they are
you know,
fucking trapped.
the narcissist will make sure they don't even conceive of it.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
they will
right.
make sure they know that this is it. You
Yeah.
have no choice. This is where you belong. And not
But,
only that, but you probably deserve it. That's the other
oh,
thing
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
try and
yeah.
make you believe
No,
that
of
it's your
course.
fault, that you're the faulty one. There's something wrong with you. Your emotions are wrong, you're crazy,
Yeah,
all of that. That's the way they work. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
way they work.
No, it's extraordinary. I mean, the other thing we haven't talked about yet, but I do want to touch on at least briefly, is like and again, this is reminiscent again of The Shining, in the same way that the Overlook is a character in The
Mhm.
Shining. I think the house in which the vast majority of this story is filmed is also a character. It's an
There's a lot
incredible
going
space,
on there,
isn't
isn't
it?
there? I mean, it's isolated in the woods. It's like a witch's
Yeah,
cottage in a fairy tale. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
But just the
it's
layout of the house is
oh,
odd,
it's
right? Because
so weird.
it's a it feels like a bungalow, but it's not. It does have two stories
Yeah.
because you've got the bedroom on the upper floor where
Mhm.
because you have that incredible scene where Andy sees Ollie through the window
Yes, of
and
course.
Ollie eats the fly, which is
Yeah.
just like whoa, whoa, whoa. But also of course you've got the incredible like just the inherent creepiness of like a drained swimming pool.
Yes, and it's a weird swimming pool as well. It's triangular.
Yep.
And that's really interesting. Again, it's part of the unspoken storytelling. I mean, first of all, triangles, again, like circles, have heavy occult resonance, but
Yeah.
also it's Laura's birth sign. If you look really
Right.
carefully, she's got a Libra
Oh,
tattoo on
that's
her
interesting.
hand,
Yeah.
and so she had the pool designed to represent that, and it ended up
Hmm.
being place where her daughter died.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a whole host of stuff going on there.
Yeah,
It's
no, it's really intense. And then
wow.
you've got the outbuilding with the freezer where the body of the daughter's been kept, and you've
Oh
got
my
like and
god.
all of
Yeah.
the environments are just super creepy, like in the way.
Yeah.
And again, that fucking pillar that Piper runs into
Right.
that's just in the middle of and it's oh god,
The
it's
whole
so
place
good.
looks. It doesn't feel right somehow, and
No, that's
a lot
it.
of it is. I mean, it's the structure, it's the architecture, but it's the framing as well. The way the
Yeah, yeah,
camera
yeah.
sort of moves through it. It doesn't feel like it's put together correctly. I mean, it's Laura, isn't it? It's her mind, right?
Absolutely, and and the way it's dressed too, right? I mean, I'm actually sure if like the house itself, I'm sure it's actually a perfectly nice house when
Mhm.
it's it's been decorated by people who aren't insane. But
Right.
with Laura's stuff in there,
Yeah.
the way then it becomes this nightmarish layout. And again, the thing with the stuffed dog, and she even has that gag about like, no, the cat's still. I haven't stuffed the cat yet because it's not
Yeah.
dead, but probably
Right.
will. Ha ha. So
Yeah.
yeah, funny. Um, but again, that's another classic narcissist trait, right? Like hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm a bit crazy. Yeah, I'm still grieving. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
really, it's like it's all there. It's all there on the surface. But yeah, just I love the space. I found myself thinking about, and again, there's some great shots like when Ollie's in the pool and she draws the circle on the
Oh, wow.
window in
That's
blood.
brilliant.
Yeah,
That's
it's
absolutely
such a great
brilliant. I mean,
moment.
there's so much resonance going on there as well. I mean, like,
Yeah,
putting aside Ollie's obvious possession by something
sure.
primeval and supernatural, um, this is kind of a portrait of what happens when you have an abusive, incompetent parent and a
Yeah.
child that has special needs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's extraordinary. And also, I mean, the moment where, Ollie's been across the line and actually Ollie comes back to himself, like the actual kid,
Yes.
comes back to himself and he said, where am I? What's going on? And the way that
That.
when she
Oh
turns the
my
music up, right?
God.
You're just like, oh my God, I'm not sure I
I
can cope with this. I'm
I
really not sure I can cope with
that
this.
that was a moment for me where I was almost like, "Oh God, no! This is
Yeah,
awful. This
yeah,
is awful. He's conscious. This kid
yeah,
is not just like a vessel. He's not dead or anything. He's
yeah.
he's he's there. The kid is there. And this kid isn't even fucking involved. You find out
No,
he's just like his name is
it's
Connor
just,
Bird,
that's right.
right? His
Yeah,
name is Connor
yeah.
Bird. He was kidnapped.
He's a missing child,
He's a missing
right?
child, and
Yeah,
the first, I mean, the first indication you get of that is obviously it's from the knife scene when
yeah,
Andy gives him the pencil and paper, and he very
yes.
cryptically writes "bird."
Yeah, yeah, it's so great, isn't it?
Isn't it
It's
fantastic?
so great.
And
Yeah,
the framing of that is so cool because the film does not make a muchness of it. If you blink, you'll miss
no,
it. You'll miss
yep,
it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
won't
yeah,
see it.
yeah. You'll catch it second time and you'll be like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit, this is good." So yeah, I mean, I love that. I love, and again, like, I love how you have the setup of the environment, and then the environment changes, and every time it changes, it's for the worse. Like the swimming pool fills up,
Oh
and
yeah,
that's bad news, right? We know that that is
yeah.
bad news, and
Well,
then
you
you
would
get
get you
like,
you get that almost premonition from the ghost of the father. When he says
yeah,
to Andy, doesn't he say she'll die in the rain or you'll
yeah,
die in the rain or something like that?
right, yeah. It's about her because that's what triggers him, like wanting to get back there.
Yeah,
It's like is
of
to protect
course.
her.
Yeah.
So but and also like, and then of course you've got you've got the chicken coop,
Huh.
and then and then the carnage when they're going through it, the chickens have just been eviscerated, right?
Yeah.
Because Ollie's just lost his shit, right? And
Yes.
he's just
Yeah.
eating everything. Um, oh my god, it's so good. It's so
Beautiful.
good. And again the very final shot of the movie of the two of them in the pool,
Yeah.
the mother and daughter
I mean,
reunited in death.
again,
Oh
there's so much going on there. I mean, the pool, the
yeah,
water is kind of womb-like, obviously.
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
But I also loved, and here's the thing. So at the same time that the film, you know, very, very cleverly and very, I think, very intelligently in terms of the writing, doesn't suddenly let Piper's superpower override being blind and that being a problem
mhm.
and running into the pillar. And you have that moment of like, oh my God, this is going to happen. And then Piper does save herself
Yeah.
because when she is being drowned, when she is at the and she comes up for air, it's her last chance. She's surfacing for
Yeah.
air for the final time. She finally understands. She cracks the code
Yeah.
of this narcissist, and she says, "Mummy,"
Mummy. Yeah.
because she knows that's what Laura wants to hear more than anything
Hmm.
else in the world. That's why she's doing all of
Yeah.
this, and I fucking love that moment so
Hmm.
much. Because
Yeah.
again, by that point in the film, because of how brutal everything's been, because of how badly things went with Andy, you're like, and again, the running into the pillar, that was the moment for me. I was like, oh, they're
Yeah.
just going to do this.
Oh, I
They're
thought so.
just going to
I
do
thought it was
this.
done. I thought she was
Yeah,
gonna. I thought what was going to happen was the thing she would become the thing would transmit to Piper, but it
sure.
wouldn't be what Laura thought it was going
Yeah,
to be.
yeah,
I mean that's
yeah,
still a very much a possibility. I imagine that probably would have been the truth.
sure. I mean, yeah, it could have got it because, of course, the videotape doesn't tell us what
It doesn't
happens.
tell you. You don't really see what happens to the
No, that's right.
returned person or
we
entity
we
or
we
whatever.
get a sense that the immediate reaction appears to be positive, but of course, then the tape goes to static, so who
That's
knows,
right.
right?
So who knows,
Um,
yeah?
right. Well, it's again, it's hope filling in the gaps
Mm,
and joining the dots and making pictures that may or may not be there.
yeah.
But I love the decision of the filmmakers to actually let Piper save herself,
Yes.
and
And
she does it
Laura's
through
kind of,
smarts, and it's so
Laura's
good.
breakdown in the aftermath is
Yeah,
amazing
no, it's incredible.
because it's all failed, right? Everything, every sacrifice, everything she's done, her whole narrative has collapsed around her.
But also, like for me, I love it because actually, at the end there, that's actually a fairy tale ending
Yeah.
because Piper finds the magic word.
She finds the magic word, she finds the spell, yeah.
Yeah, and of course, the magic word is mum.
Yeah.
And given the entire narrative, that had to be the magic word. Of course, that's what worked, and I
Yeah.
love it. And it breaks the spell. It
Hmm.
breaks the spell of narcissism,
Yeah.
right?
Because Laura could have gone after her.
Yeah,
She could have
but
dragged her
no,
back, and she doesn't. She
and
knows it's done. She knows it's
it
over.
exactly it reconnects Laura to her humanity.
Yeah.
And that's why Laura ultimately feels like a sympathetic character, even though she is one of the great screen villains of all time.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, you see the vulnerability. And in that
Yeah.
moment, she does choose redemption over violence. At the
Hmm.
very last moment,
Yeah.
she does choose. And she only does it because Piper's smart.
Yep.
She only does it because Piper finds the magic words. I'm not giving her a lot of credit, but
Hmm.
it works. It throws the switch in her brain, and she's suddenly
Yeah.
like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah,
What
she
the
sees
fuck am I
she
doing?
actually sees like humanity.
Yeah.
It's
Well, she
like a
sees Piper as a
light, isn't
real
it? Yeah,
person
as a
rather than as
person
a,
at long
a
last.
tool
Yeah.
to be manipulated or a doll to be filled with her. Yeah. It's fantastic. It's a
It is.
fantastic, fantastic moment.
It's wonderful, and the film needs it. I mean, the
Oh
film
my
does need it
God. Does it
because
need it?
it's so unrelenting
Yeah.
up to that point, and you've
Yeah.
seen so much loss and pain up to that
Yeah.
point, it needs something.
Yeah, and then as you say, and then we also get like the angel or entity or demon or whatever it is
Mm, yeah,
leaves our boy behind, and we get also Con Oliver becomes Connor again and
yeah.
gets his life back, and that's
And again,
also
it doesn't belabor itself. Like the
no,
temptation again would have been to show like the tidying up, right? To
yeah,
show the
no,
finding of Andy's body, maybe a funeral scene, and then how
sure.
Ollie's doing in like a few months or whatever.
You know what? The only reason to do that shit is if you're looking to franchise and do a shitty
Exactly.
sequel. And like this
Exactly.
movie is not, I mean, please God, this movie
Yeah.
is not doing that because they've done
No.
it. They've done it. They told the story. And
Yeah.
again, like how many times have we talked about this? Like people are going to spend, people are going to spend years speculating about exactly what this thing is, what the
Oh,
ritual is, where the videos came from, what that. And it's
yeah.
like, I'm begging the universe now, nobody make that movie. Let us
Yeah.
enjoy it in our
Leave it.
imaginations.
Yeah. I don't want to know. I don't want to know
No,
anything
I don't
about the
care.
wider metaphysics. I
I'm
don't want to
done.
know what the angel
Exactly.
is. I don't, um, I mean, I
Let it be
love,
something that keeps me up at night wondering
yeah,
about. Don't give me the
absolutely.
answer. Let me
I
worry about it.
love
It's so good.
I love how unanchored it is from any kind of traditional mythology. I mean, like this, even
So
if it
great.
is like a demon or an angel, it ain't
Yeah.
from traditional Christianity. It ain't from
No,
any kind of tradition that we would
no.
know about or we would be able
It,
to define.
that's one of the many things that's so brilliant. There's clearly something ritualistic happening on that video,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it's so obscure as to what, like you say, it's not grounded in any tradition. There's tradition like things, right? There's
Yeah.
symbolism that's vaguely recognizable, but it doesn't add up to anything
No.
concrete. It doesn't seem to be it's not like 14th century Knights Templar, blah, blah, blah. Like none of
Right.
that
Right.
shit. It's
It
just
has
it's
it
you
has
know
the resonance of old like old traditional occultism and
yeah,
witchcraft, but it
yeah.
isn't anything
but
specific.
but also like you say, that glimpse of the creature, that very
I
small glimpse, like
That
it,
might be my favorite bit of the film.
that hints to me to almost like certainly maybe like a pre-Christian, like
Yeah,
a
a
maybe
pagan,
yeah, maybe entirely
pantheistic.
prehistoric, right? Maybe
Yeah,
like some essence of spirituality that comes from
yeah.
before we had language, almost like it's primal, right?
It almost reminds me of like the entity in the stone tape, you know,
Right,
that's
right.
recorded in the stones, that's primeval, that's from a
Yeah,
time that can't even be conceived of.
right.
It's a brilliant concept. It's a brilliant
No, it's so
concept,
good.
and of course, it's operating in that scene. It's revealing itself as a kind of threat. It seems to
Yeah,
me, because
yeah,
of course she doubted it, right? Laura doubted that its presence
yeah,
at that point.
yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm
No, it's
here.
so great. It's so great. Well, again, because there's that scene that really only makes sense the second time through where Ollie's in the bath and she's like, how am I supposed to know you're real?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, and the first time through, that's a really fucking creepy scene.
Isn't
But it
it?
doesn't really tell you anything yet because you don't know what she's saying. You don't
Right. Or who
understand the
she's
weight of
talking
what
to,
she's
right?
asking.
Quite who she's talking
Exactly.
to. Is she talking to the
Yeah.
spirit of Laura or what?
Right. Because at that point, we don't know what's going on with Ollie. We don't know any of
Nope.
it. So it's really, really smart. But of course, the second time through, it's like that again. It's one of the reasons the movie like almost demands a second viewing because that's seen as a whole other level of creep when you know what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. It's
And
fucking hell,
like
man.
weird, almost arrogance on Laura's part, you know? You think you can
Yeah.
contain and control this thing? You
I mean,
know,
the hubris of the whole thing, right?
that's a
Yeah.
mistake. It's a real
Well,
error, that
again,
is.
it's narcissism again, though, right? Like
Oh, of
that's how
course, yeah.
narcissism works.
It's.
Like,
I mean, this is narcissism on a whole other level. She is imposing her narcissism on reality. You know, on the process of
yeah,
life and death. You know,
yeah.
it's quite incredible. But I mean,
No, it's
I love everyone
extraordinary.
in this film, but Sally Hawkins for me, she she
Yeah.
just takes it. I mean,
No,
she
you're
just
right.
takes it.
She should be winning awards. She should be winning all the awards for this. It's it's the screen performance of the year for me
Yeah,
so
me too.
far, and
Me
someone's
too.
going to have to do something extraordinary to top it. It's incredible,
I
and
ju-
the movie falls apart without an exceptional actor in that role. By the
yeah,
way, like the
yeah,
entire fucking film falls apart because she's the emotional and linchpin of the
yeah.
narrative.
And given the nature of the character, it would have
It
been so
collapses and
easy.
it.
It would have been so easy to take it
Yeah,
too far or not to play it enough, to make it
yep,
too malevolent or
yep.
to make it too sort of like sort of hand wringing and whatnot. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
But you
performance.
know
Of
why? Because, and again, this is intelligent acting because the performance has to, the way the performance has to work is you have to believe that the same woman you've seen in the entire movie is the same woman who in that last moment makes that decision.
yeah, yeah,
You have to believe that she's capable of hearing the word mum and changing her mind, and
yeah.
that the whole performance is reverse engineered from that moment as an
Hmm,
actor
hmm.
so that that moment sells. And it is, that is exquisite acting. That is just world class
Yeah,
acting. Because the cheap version of it is you just roll with the punches, right? You just roll with the beats, and sometimes you
yeah,
look villainous, and sometimes you look innocent, and blah blah blah. But
hmm,
no, it's all going on all the time with her. The layers are there in
yeah.
every move, in every look, in every glance, in every expression, micro expression. It
Hmm.
is incredible,
It is.
incredible.
It's been a long time since a performance has struck me to the same degree. And of course, I
Yeah.
mean, she's surrounded by brilliant performances as well.
Absolutely.
You
Well, I
know,
think they, it's one of those wonderful things that you always hope will happen in cinema where people, like, I think the actors just, they brought each other up, right? They
yeah,
just responded. You could see like they responded to each other's energy and they just kind of went there, right? And it's,
yeah.
yeah, no, everyone in it is absolutely brilliant. And again, shout out to the kid playing Oliver because that's actually a really
Oh,
tough part.
oh, isn't it?
It's
I
a
mean, because
really tough part.
primarily silent.
Yeah, he ain't got
Um,
a lot of lines.
he
It's all
hasn't
in the
got a lot of
face.
lines. It's all in like his face and his posture and the way he
Yeah,
moves and everything. It's brilliant. I mean, it is, and of course, technically he's playing a dual role as well. I mean, he's Oliver, but
sure.
he's also
Yeah,
the
yeah,
creature. He's the entity.
yeah.
Um, it's amazing.
No, it's really good.
It's
It's
honestly,
really good.
guys, this film is it's another order of magnitude. There are
Yeah.
we tend to explore things that we like on this in this show, but this is something else.
Yeah, I mean, we're enthusiasts by inclination, right? We
Mhm.
and we want to talk about the things that we like, and we want to and the things that we love, and why we like them, or why we love them, and that's what we're doing here. And
Apart from when we did the Lost Boys, obviously.
apart from the Lost Boys, but I'm allowed one where I get to be the grumpy guy, but most of the time, right? Like
Yeah.
that's our default position is we're going
Yes.
into two, and like I don't know, it's a personal taste thing for me. I'd rather talk about things I like than things I
Me
don't,
too.
as a general
Me
rule.
too.
Um,
Although one of
but
these days I would like to do just one more negative one because I think it's fun
sure,
sometimes. It just
yeah, I
levens the
don't
whole
mind
thing,
it.
you know?
I don't mind it, but I think, yeah, but I think our ratio is about where it should be in terms of
Yeah.
positive to negative. Let's put it
Oh, I
like that.
think
And,
so. I think so.
but you're right. I think and again, I'm not taking back anything I said about weapons. Go and listen to us talk about weapons for
No,
2.5 hours.
Weapons is
We fucking
amazing. I
loved it.
mean,
It's a
in
brilliant
in
film.
a bizarre way, I almost feel sorry for all of the films, particularly the horror films that have come out around this one.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, kind of. Except I think there's space for. I think it's weird and
Yeah.
interesting that they've all come out in such a short period of time. We've
Isn't
had
it
these.
bizarre? Because like
It's
Weapons
really
deals with very
weird.
similar
Yeah,
ideas to this
there's
one. It does
definitely
it,
connections.
it's much broader than this one and much
Yeah,
more it casts a sort of a wider net than this one in
I was
terms of
going to
its
say,
ideas.
I think weapons has wider concerns. I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I really, and this is a taste thing, right? There will be
Mhm.
people who prefer weapons because of that, and that's
Yeah.
completely valid. For me, one of the things I love about Bring Her Back is the fucking laser focus of it.
Yeah.
The claustrophobia of it
Yeah.
is just absolutely because it's really, I mean, the cast is actually maybe 20 people in the whole movie, but
Hmm.
the real core of it is those three, is that,
Yeah.
well, the four, right? Ollie, and
Hmm.
it is spectacular what those actors
It's
do together.
intimate, isn't it? It's intimate horror.
It's so good. Yeah.
It's an amazing
And it's
achievement.
and yeah, it's so focused. It is such a focused piece of, and again, it's an hour and three quarters, and it
Yeah.
flies by because it's incident. It doesn't. There's none of these long, gloomy tracking shots. There's none of this. I mean, it does build atmosphere, but
Hmm.
it does it while the action unfolds. It is not. It doesn't sit still. It's it's one of those films that you realize, it kind of you kind of retroactively realize how flabby a lot of horror movies are by
Yeah. Oh,
comparison.
it shames
You
a
know,
lot of stuff. It
yeah,
does. It
yeah,
really, really does. A lot of stuff with much bigger budgets by much
yep,
more accredited
yeah,
directors and so on.
yeah,
It's yeah. This is how you do
but
it.
yeah,
This is an
this
example
is
of
how you
how
do
to
it.
do it
Yeah,
right. This is
absolutely.
how this is how you sort of like reinvigorate a genre. It's an
Yeah,
amazing film.
no, it really is. It really is, and and as you say, it's arrived at a moment where we've had a string of fantastic horror movies.
Yeah,
And it's really exciting. I'm really happy, and we could speculate as to what it is that's going on in the wider world that's
yeah.
making suddenly made horror so resurgent. I think we've
Mm,
probably both got pretty good ideas
I've
as to
got a
what that might
fairly
be.
decent idea of what might be occurring.
But like, but but fucking hell, man, it's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good,
I
and
don't
it
actually
is.
need anything else this year. I don't need. I mean, I'm sure
No,
there will be great stuff, and of course,
I'll
I've
take
got
it.
the I've
But
got the
yeah,
long walk
you've got the
to
long walk
watch
to look
too.
forward to. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I don't need anything else
Um,
now. I'm replete.
yeah, no, it's been good, and I just that, and it does make me hopeful that in 2025 that movies this fucking good are still getting made, full stop, and horror movies in particular.
Yeah,
And I just hope. I mean, I think Weapons has found its audience. Weapons seems to have done very well. It seems
definitely.
to be doing
Our
a decent
weapons has
box
done.
office, and
From
that's
what I
good.
understand, it's
Yeah,
done fantastically. Weapons has.
which is great because I want that. I want it to
Yeah.
find it, and I hope these other movies. I hope Together finds an audience. I hope this. I think this one will. I think this one is going to
Mm,
be one that those of us that were lucky enough to see it on the big screen will be doing what we're doing now, and the word of mouth
yes.
will spread.
I
Now it's
I
available. Yeah,
it's already started to proliferate in certain spaces
yeah,
online and on you. I
yeah,
mean, like the analysis channels are going nuts over it,
yeah.
obviously,
No, of
because like the
course.
the Bring Her Back Explained and
Right,
all of
and
that
there is a
kind of
lot
thing.
there. There's a lot.
There's a lot to chew over.
It deserves it. Yeah, it's got the
Yeah,
depth,
it's
and I
good
love that
fodder.
about it.
It's good fodder
Yeah,
for that stuff. It really is.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's great, and I'm just really encouraged. I mean, for me, it's just like it's good to see the genre in such good health. It's good to see it in
Yeah,
such good health across such a range of budgets and styles and ideas and
I
types.
know, right? I
None of
mean,
these movies are
it's
like each other. This is not like when it's like half a dozen fucking zombie movies, right? And two of
right.
them are good
Yeah,
and four of
when
them
a
suck.
zeitgeist sort of sweeps in and takes everything over.
Yeah,
No, this is. I
this is
mean, they're
something else, man.
markedly different this year.
Yeah,
Remarkably different. I thought there was
yeah,
going to be like a glut of gothic films after Nosferatu.
sure.
I thought that's where we were maybe
Yeah,
going to go this year. That we are going to
you
get
know,
recreations
well,
of classic material and whatnot. Which we might get a bit more of that. But it's
we
been
might get
very
that next year,
surprising.
right? I mean, the lead
Yeah.
time on production, maybe we'll
Well,
get
I
that
know
next
that.
year.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
like
no, it's been great.
Eggers himself is actually. I think he's doing the Wolfman next.
Oh well, okay.
So you
That'll
know
be worth watching,
that'd be
I
very
predict.
interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
There is another Frankenstein happening, right?
Isn't there? Yeah, there's
Is Del Toro doing
The
Frankenstein?
Guillermo
Did I
del
dream
Toro
that?
one. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah,
That's gonna be worth your time, right? Like
I certainly
that's
hope
gonna
so. I
be
mean,
worth
that is
watching.
perfect. The material and the director
Yeah.
is just spot
I,
on
I
there, isn't
think,
it?
you know, he's gonna do something different, man. It's gonna be interesting. I mean,
Uh,
it might be divisive even, but I think I'm
hmm
really excited about that. I'm really excited
Yeah,
about that.
I'm
He's
looking
such a
forward to it.
great filmmaker.
I am really looking
Um,
forward to it.
so
He's responsible for one of my favorite films of all time, which is Pan's Labyrinth.
sure,
It's
sure.
so yeah,
So you're always gonna want to roll the dice on him, aren't you? And I just think,
definitely.
yeah, I'm just excited. And even like, I mean, it's an outlier, and it may end up. I mean, I'm very curious because the way the trailers have been cut for it, I'm not sure
Mhm.
which way it's going to go. I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about the Running Man too. I feel like that is
Yeah,
actually going to be like it looks like that. If they get it the way it looks like it's going to be, that is
I
actually it's going to
mean,
be the satire that the original
yeah,
movie tried to be but didn't. Like, I think they
it
actually might have got it this time.
it looks like if the trailers are anything to go by, and given how like sensitive things are at the moment, it looks like it could be
Yeah.
incendiary,
Oh yeah.
like
No,
properly
I mean,
incendiary, and I hope it is. I hope it's
well,
brave.
yeah, actually, that's a good point. It's gonna hit different than it might have done a couple of weeks ago, given
Yeah,
recent events.
I
I think
think
that,
so.
yeah, that's a good point. I
I
hadn't
think
thought about
so.
that, but yeah, but it was always like, I mean, again, like with the long walk, the source material is fucking strong.
Yeah.
I mean, it is powerful stuff. You know, this is you're talking about like, you know, King writing in his 20s, and he had
Mm.
some fucking game, and he was angry.
He was
You
so
know,
angry at
in a
that
way that
point,
maybe you
wasn't
can only
he?
be when you're that.
Yeah, he was.
I
He was
think
a
you only
very
can be in your
angry
20s.
20 something.
Yeah,
He was.
yeah. And it
Although, to
came
be
out in
fair,
an
I mean,
amazing
like, he's a
place.
pretty angry dude at the moment, isn't he?
Bless his heart. No, it's true,
Understandably.
and God knows we need it, right? Like,
Yeah, right.
so yeah, good
More
for
of
him.
those voices,
But yeah,
please.
absolutely. You know, keep it coming. We need it. We need them all. And I love this. And again, you know, everything this film did, everything it touched on, the themes, you know, vulnerability, disability, and marginalization.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
I mean, this is the stuff, right? You and I, we've been talking about this so much, and Bring It Back just pulls all those threads together, and it is a phenomenal fucking horror movie. Like, it's just on its own terms. It none of the themes weigh it down. They just
Oh
feed into
no,
it. They just
it's
build it up. It's
it doesn't,
just
it doesn't
it's
do that thing
exquisite.
that we've discussed quite a lot on this channel, especially when we been talking about like Nolan films with Jack. It
Mm,
doesn't like
mm.
signify its themes. It doesn't like beat you over the head with the fact
No,
that it's a film about this or it's a film about that. Ultimately, it does it very naturally through its story, through its characters, through its
yeah.
situation. Um,
Because the truth is,
it's
you don't need to do that. If you've got
no,
compelling enough characters and a strong enough narrative hook, the fucking themes just they
they just
flow from that.
right.
They are
It just
there.
happens, doesn't it?
Yeah,
In good
yeah.
storytelling, it just happens, and you do not need to beat your audience to death
No,
with the themes, the
no.
theme stick, which it's not just
Yeah.
Nolan. I'm just using, I'm just picking on Nolan.
I mean, he's kind of
It's
the most egregious version of it, but
he is one of the most egregious examples of this. But a lot of
it's
film and
become an
TV does
epidemic.
this. It
I
has. It
can't stand
really
it.
has. Characters talking about themes.
I can't,
It's like,
every time it happens, every time some square jawed hero turns to camera and describes the theme of the piece to me, I just
ugh,
want to throw something. I'm just
yeah,
like, just give me some fucking credit, will you? Like,
absolutely,
I'm
yeah.
sat right here. Bring It Back doesn't do that. And it's awesome. And you should all go and see it. And if you've been to
You
see it, go
should.
see it again. And
Yeah,
then show it to your friends and give them
absolutely.
nightmares.
I agree. I mean, again, I would reiterate from the top. It's a really horrible, difficult, triggering film.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's about what it's about and it
yeah,
does not flinch.
no, and it doesn't
Um,
apologize either.
no, no, it
Doesn't
does not.
apologize for it. In fact, what it actually says is, no, it's important for art to discuss this stuff,
That's right.
and it's important for you to see it
Yep.
as the audience. It's important for you to see it, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not.
Yeah. And
Um,
again, in that sense, I think it's just by its existence, it's a rebuke to a lot of horror movies, 10 or 20
yes.
times its budget, that don't have like a tenth of the balls
Well,
to
I just
just
love the fact. I love
go
the fact
there, you
that
know?
it's at the cinema at the same time as the fucking latest Conjuring film.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know which I mean, I'm not going to watch it because I think they are actually amoral films,
Right.
um for lots of different reasons, but
Sure.
the you just know that it's going to be flooded with good versus evil. It's going to be binary, it's going to be sentimental, it's going to be about the power of faith and love and family saving all. you know it's going to be that. It's going to be very prescribed. This is the
Yeah.
antidote to that. Bring Her Back
Yeah.
is the antidote to all of that bullshit.
Yeah.
um
Definitely.
yeah, if you are going to go to the cinemas to watch a horror film, don't go and see the fucking Conjuring films. Go and watch something
Mm,
like this.
absolutely. And again, I come back to like it's more brutal than almost anything I've seen this year. Probably is
Yes.
more brutal than anything I've seen this year, maybe with the exception of Long Walk. It's also, though, at the same time, got more heart.
Yeah.
And that's the genius of it.
Oh,
That's the genius of
absolutely. I
it. And
mean,
the heart is earned by the harshness.
yeah,
It's so good.
they are expressions of one another, aren't they? I mean, without
Yeah,
the violence, without the mutilation, without the very obvious and overt abuse that occurs in this film, you don't get the catharsis. You don't get what
exactly.
it, and it's born out of the emotional connection that you build for the
Yeah. And
characters. And
I did ultimately find this movie, as dark and as difficult as it is to watch, it is ultimately cathartic. And
yeah,
that's an incredible achievement.
isn't it? isn't
An
it?
incredible achievement to not pivot to nihilism at the end, but find a
Right.
way of
That's
delivering a
very,
catharsis.
that's hard. That's
Yeah,
very difficult given what it's
yeah,
dealing with. And the temptation must have been to go there.
right. I'd be amazed if they didn't shoot a different ending. I'd be
Oh,
amazed.
honestly, there must
But
be a different ending out there somewhere.
I'm really they got it right. They figured it out.
Yeah.
They threaded the needle. It's glorious. It's honest to God. I mean, I loved it before I sat down to talk about it, but after
Hmm.
talking about it for 2 hours, I love it even more. It's
Me too.
fucking.
Me
I am
too.
going to watch it again at some point because it's
I'm
so
gonna
fucking
wait.
good. Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
fair.
wait. It
Wait
might
until the
be.
memory's faded enough that
Yeah.
it'll have been that bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not quite at the level of like When the Wind Blows or Threads or anything like that, but it's knocking that, you know?
I tell you what it makes me think about, honestly, and this is my childhood trauma thing. It actually does make me think about Tommy and the way that Tommy made me feel as a
Ah,
kid. And
yes.
it's edging on that
Yeah.
territory. It really is. It's that fucked up, man.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
really good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
I don't know what else to
So
say about
yeah,
it, guys. It is. It is
get
just.
yeah,
It's
strap on your
breathlessly
emotional
brilliant.
armor and go and watch this fucking film. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is coming for you in the best possible way.
Brilliant. Well, Kit, just before we go, do you want to chuck anything out?
Sure. What should I talk about? Well, okay. So if you enjoyed me doing some pop culture criticism here, Exploring the Labyrinth Volume 1 will be coming out mid-October. This is me doing a similar kind of dive that I've done tonight, but into the work of American author Brian Keene. Volume 1 will like the first 30 essays in my series Exploring the Labyrinth, where I do a first time read of Brian Keene's bibliography in the order that it was originally published and write essays about each book as I finish it. I'm The book's going to contain an exclusive interview with the man himself, which I will be sitting down to record tomorrow, and I'm equal parts excited and terrified about, as well as the 30 essays. And that's coming out with French Press, who published Millionaire's Day in mid-October. So look out for that. And to whet your appetite, if you go to uncomfortablydark.com at the moment, that's an American indie horror site. They're publishing the articles on a weekly basis. So if you want to get caught up on what I'm working on there, and pre-orders and stuff will be out, popping up in the next week or two. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to get something new from me every week, if you've enjoyed this and you want more podcasts from me, more essays, more fiction, patreon.com/kitpower. Sign up for free to get access to my, I call it a regular newsletter, but it's not. So sign up for my irregular newsletter, or for as little as $1 a month, you get something new from me every single week. Sometimes it will be an essay, sometimes it will be a podcast. Some of them are early access, some of them are exclusive. But yeah, $1 a month, something new every week. Lots of good stuff happening over there at the moment. I've got podcasts about music, podcasts about Sherlock Holmes. I've got essays, the Brian Keene essays. I'm also serializing a screenplay that I've recently written. So yeah, go over there and check that out. That's me.
Brilliant. Links below, by the way, guys, to all of that. As for myself, same as usual, you can find me here on Exaggerated Elegy. Just finished playing through System Shock 2 again. It's been a joy.
Oh,
It's been
nice,
an
nice.
absolute joy. I haven't played it for years, maybe a couple of decades, and it's
Mm,
been absolutely glorious going back to it. I've loved it. I've loved playing it. And System Shock 3, it's been teased. I want it.
okay.
Hopefully it will be coming out, because it's been very successful. But yeah, I'll be let's playing that as well,
Sure.
definitely. For God's sake, that's a must. Um, as for my published
Nice.
work, you can find links over at strangeplaygrounds.com and the Evil Empire of Amazon. If you type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my Amazon author page. Non-fiction work, actually, the series that I inherited from Kit, My Life in Horror, is continuing apace. There was actually a article released about System Shock 2 very recently, which I'm very pleased with, and was much longer than I thought it was. And there's one that I'm currently editing, which is huge, about Clive Barker's Weave World, which is
Oh,
good.
yes.
That's a big one. That's a big
It's like
one. I
a
mean,
novella length essay, right?
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
I've had to cut a lot of it out because it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Um, how many ways can I say it's fantastic? It's sublime. It's just like life-changingly effervescent. And I think for now that's it for me. This has been brilliant, Kit.
Yeah,
This has
absolutely.
been really great, and I'm so glad to get. This is one I think we needed to just process and get out,
Yeah.
to express. Yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, it was, I mean, as I say, it was tougher to watch the second time than the
Yeah,
first, but it was worth it because I knew we'd be having this conversation. And
yeah,
I was saying to my friends the other day because we had to postpone by a couple of days, and I was
uh,
actually like, I did say to them like, great, so I'm going to have this film in my head for another 2 days before I get to talk about it. Thanks for putting it off. That's great.
yeah,
But
right.
but I, it was probably worth it. It gave me a couple of days more to kind of mulch it
To
down and stuff. But yeah, it
digest a little bit.
definitely.
Yeah,
But you're right. This is the thing. This is part of why it's so brilliant. It's the kind of film that you want to talk about. And I
yeah.
mean, there's not a higher compliment than that. It's just not popcorn. This is something that you
Oh,
watch it, and then you need to find people who've seen it so you can sit down and talk about
yeah,
it
this
because it's a
demands
lot.
engagement, doesn't it? It
Yeah, it's brilliant.
demands engagement. It's brilliant. It's a
Yeah,
stunning piece of work, and I cannot, guys, cannot recommend it enough. Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, get it down,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No uncertain terms, right? Yeah, make like Ollie eating the table and get it
There you
down.
go. Get it
Um,
down, yeah.
until next time, guys. Bye bye.
Bye for now.